Hello, Cherries fans. Welcome back to another watch along here on Cherries Red Army. It is AFC Bournemouth versus Newcastle. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I'd imagine most of you are going to be having me on in the background in some description. If you're not watching the game while it's on and you've got me on, I don't know what you're doing. But whether you're whether you're going to be watching this down at the pub, whether you're at the game, I hope everyone has a fantastic time. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it? There's no doubt that Newcastle are struggling in terms of numbers. We'll have a look at the lineups in a moment, but particularly we'll have, there's one debutant in particular, but a couple of lesser known names in Newcastle's side where you feel like, we might have a chance going up against their inexperience. They played away in Dortmund on Tuesday, so they will be hurting and hopefully struggling. And it's probably one of the best chances we're going to get at taking points off Newcastle this season, considering the form that they have been in for long periods of this season and where they are now, obviously with our old manager, who's doing brilliant work once again, not like any of us ever really doubted it. But yeah, fingers crossed that this one goes better than the last few times we've played teams in the top half of the table. Obviously, still 25 minutes till kickoff, so I'm sure you'll come in. People will be coming in slowly, but those of you that are here, please do say hi. Hello to Wrestling Archives, not a name I'm familiar with, so someone new to the stream. Thank you very much for joining. Let's bring up the starting lineups so that we've got something to have a look at and compare. So obviously, let's start with Bournemouth. I don't think there's. I would say there's not many surprises, but okay, let's start with the first one. Neto's back in now. A lot of us haven't been too pleased with Radu's performances in goal. Most of us were clambering for someone else to get a chance over Neto, in that his performances haven't been great. I think the embellishment of how bad he has been playing has not been unfair, but it has maybe been a little bit over the top. Because in terms of what his save numbers, his goals conceded numbers versus expected goals on target actually hasn't been that bad. It's been one of the better ones in the league. But Radu hasn't been exactly great coming in. I think that there's not a lot he could have done against with a few of those goals against Man City, but some of them he definitely could have done better with. And has his kicking been great? Not really. It's not been any better than Neto's. Has his leadership been there? Difficult to say, but probably not. So Neto coming back in is an interesting one, specifically seeing as well Travers is on the bench and Radu is not. And I would be surprised if that Radu off the bench is an injury-based one. I would imagine that is a form-based decision. As for the rest of the back line, Aaron Zabani, Senesi, Kelly, I think that's pretty much expected, as a lot of people would have done. I get your thoughts in the live chat as to how you think of our lineup. The big call is definitely in midfield. No Philip Billing. Now, admittedly, I have been a very bad Bournemouth fan, and I didn't watch all of Iraola's press conference, but I believe it would have filtered through if I'd heard that Billing was unavailable. So this is probably a late injury call. If not, there's something more going on, which is concerning, because there have been stories before of Billing walking out on training. Was that the story I think I heard from a few weeks back? So, yeah, that's an interesting one. That leaves us with Cook and Christie as the double pivot. I'm not too sure about that one. Clivert seemingly playing as the 10, maybe? Possibly one of the midfield, some version of the midfield three. I'm not too sure why. I mean, if you've got Rothwell on the bench, I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't play him. So that's an interesting one. Then Semenyo and Tavernier is good to see, and Solanke up front, obviously, is brilliant. Hello to everyone else that's joining us. Nilo, lovely to see you back. Hello, David from Australia. Joining from Forest Fan TV. I was glad to see that there's been some positive feedback off that one. I'm guessing you're talking about, is that Neto or Radu? Neither, one or the other. I don't think I've been in the only one, by the way. Not at all. But I did go mental at him after the Wolves game. But I think I was pretty fair in saying that he massively messed up in that line. As for the Newcastle starting 11, this is an interesting one. The face up there that pretty much none of you will know is it Lewis? Lewis or Louis is his first name, I think. Miley. Anyway, he's a very highly rated central midfielder, so I will be actually very interested to see what he's like. As many of you may be similar to me, as soon as Eddie Howe got the job at Newcastle, Newcastle was my second team, just instantly. And Miley is a name that I've been hearing a lot of Newcastle being talked about a lot on the Newcastle podcast that I sometimes listen to. So that'll be interesting to see how he does. But if you look at the rest of that side, obviously you've got Pope and Trippier. Lascelles is a solid centre-back. I think does really well since coming in. Shah playing on his weaker side on the left side. And then Lewis Hall is a player that I really want to see Semenyo or Tavernier get at, whoever won. Hall has had one good game, and then he's had two very poor first halves in the Champions League and in the Cup against Man City. Some not great performances. And he's been subbed off at half time. So we'll see if we can have Semenyo or Tavernier, whoever plays on the right hand side, really go at Lewis Hall. Miley with Longstaff and Joe Linton. First team is there, Longstaff and Joe Linton. Although and Joe Linton, I thought has been pretty good for them since coming back from injury. Almiron on the right. I'd imagine that leaves Willock on the left and Gordon playing up front. We might see Willock playing up front and Gordon off the left. It's possible. That is how they sort of set it up in their lineups on here. But it's not as weak per se as you would kind of hope it would be in terms of like they have had plenty of injuries. And you look at the subs bench. Dubravka, obviously, Gillespie, both goalkeepers. You've got Dummett and Ritchie, who are obviously quite aged. Kraft, who has barely played since coming back. Livramento is the one bit of quality they've got coming off the bench, and the rest are youngsters. So they've not got a lot to bring on off the bench at all, apart from Livramento. That's about it. And maybe Ritchie he'll get a nice round of applause, I'm sure, Ritchie, if he comes onto the pitch, because I'm not sure if Ritchie has played at Dean Court since leaving for Newcastle. He might have done. The season they got promoted. I'd have to look back at that actually. So as for Bournemouth subs bench, you've got Travers, as I said, is instead of Radu, Smith, Mepham, Kirkes, Rothwell, Traore. Traore at least is on the bench, I suppose. Brooks, nice to hopefully see him getting some opportunities. Dango and Sinistera, no Kiefer Moore. I don't know if he's injured. That may well be a tactical decision, but I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't just play Kiefer Moore, have Kiefer Moore on the bench. Interesting one. Resting I don't think you're really going to work out. We'll have to look. Gary Aldous. I don't know how the hell he's. Well, I say I don't know how the hell he's doing so well. It's just amazing to see the games that he does well in, and yet Wolves are the only team so far this season to lose to Sheffield United. It's very Gary O'Neill. David, why aren't you there for what's an important game? Because I live in Manchester, my good sir. And I don't go to home games because it's a bit of a trek. There's your answer. Right. What's everyone else's thoughts on the lineups then? I've just rambled on. Those of you here, I hope you have I hope you're enjoying your Saturday. But what does everyone else think about those lineups? I am I'm uncertain about this central midfield. It does concern me a bit that we have. I'll put the lineups on the bottom so they keep scrolling through and you can check them. It is a bit concerning that it looks like it's Cook and Christie in midfield with maybe Cliver as the supporting number 10. I'm really not sure why you wouldn't play Rothwell. As in a game against Newcastle, who Newcastle are a very physical side, and with players like Longstaff and Joelinton, they will look to physically dominate you in midfield. So for us to have Cook and Christie, two of our shortest players, certainly our two shortest central midfielders, playing to have to deal with that with the likes of Joelinton and Longstaff with Miley alongside them. That's concerning to me. I do wonder how that's going to work out. Wrestling, you agree with me about that central midfield too? Who's playing centrally out of Climate and Semenyo? Well, Nilo said that Iraola has apparently said that that Clive will be playing as the 10, which is how it was set out in the lineup sheet that was posted on Twitter. Very concerning. Oliver, Forest fan here. Thank you for that. I think you've got great. Oh, thank you very much for definitely get a draw here. Newcastle with a lot of key players. Definitely, that's exactly what I said. I was actually on. I was on BBC Radio Newcastle last night, and I said a very similar thing. I did. I said I just think that with the games that Newcastle have played, they've come back from Dortmund on Tuesday. They're in a difficult position because they don't really have the men to bring off the bench. They can't rotate players. Eddie Howe is unable to rotate players. So how is he going to set them up against us who, we can have an odd game, but we can have a pretty decent one as well. Someone who might be able to provide a second opinion on that is Cherries Red Army contributor Aaron Kay. Hello, good sir.
Hey, John. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad, thank you.
You've had a look at the lineups.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I guess defensively wise, the argument was going to be Mepham or Kelly or Kirkers or Senesi. So I think it's harsh on Meps, personally. I get Kelly at left back. I know we've had all the discussions about him playing at left back, but I think, Kirkers, who I do rate very highly, can blow hot and cold, but inexperienced. So I've no problem with Kelly at left back. Then the question was Mepham or Senesi. He's gone with Zabani back on his favoured right side and Senesi on the left. I've got no issues with that. I think out of any of those combinations, I don't think you can argue one way or the other. So that's fine. The one potential I would have was Rothwell. I think if Alex Scott obviously is out, and certainly if Billing is not playing, then it's very harsh on Rothwell not to be in the starting lineup. I think, you've already missing Scott, you're already missing Billing. So, and as I said, with Lewis Cook back, which is good, I think then Rothwell can be that box-to-box player. So,
yeah,
it's very attacky. That's my worry. When you've got Semenyo, Tavernier, Cliver, and Solanke, I mean, it's great to see, right? But then there screams out a massive hole in the midfield for me.
Kind of screams 4-2-4, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's my worry. So it's all one thing going for it, but I think Rothwell would have given us more balance. So I guess Clivert's going to be playing that cam role, which means Christie will be deeper as well, which isn't his best position. So yeah, that's probably the question mark, but I guess we'll find out sooner or later if it's a masterstroke or not.
Yeah, we absolutely will. Good question here from Wrestling Archives. I don't know whether you've heard about Rothwell's fitness, Aaron.
I haven't heard anything. No, I mean, he's on the bench. So that I don't know. I thought he was excellent against Man City when he came on. And I think as I mentioned in the last Cherries in Focus, I said the fact that Lewis Cook's back means that Rothwell can actually play a bit more of that box to box, which is what he is. His deficiencies lie in CDM, which he isn't. But so now you've got Lewis Cook back. And as I said, with the fact that Scott and Billing are unavailable, then it is a bit strange to me that Rothwell hasn't been given a nod for this game, unless he isn't fully fit. But then he's on the bench, so yeah, that for me is the one question mark, I guess.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Having Cliver as more of a 10, particularly as if we're going to say that he's playing specifically as a 10, like Christie does function as a 10 when he plays, but he also comes deeper, not as deep as Billing will do when he's playing as the 10. But yeah, that is a really interesting goal, because he's not going to help out defensively in the same way.
Well, there's that. And Newcastle, as we know, play a 3 in midfield. So
yeah,
automatically we're going to be outnumbered in there. And we've spoken about this before. So that's a big worry for me, because you win and lose the game in midfield. And Lewis Cook and Christie as a 2 on their own is quite concerning.
Well, it's not only just like in terms of man against man, in terms of players 3v2. Lewis Cook and Ryan Christie are our 2 shortest central midfield options, and they're going up against Joe Linton and Longstaff, along with, I don't know how tall Miley is, but he's he's a very highly rated youngster. It's not, and then even then, let's say Cliver is the number 10. He's like what 5'7". He's not, or 5'9", whatever it is. He's not exactly tall. It's a bit of a concern, I've got to say, in the midfield. Here's something to move on to, though. I'm sure you've seen the Newcastle lineup as well. Obviously, Miley's getting his first start for the club, which is a big moment for him and for a lot of Newcastle fans. The player that I really want us to go at, though, is Lewis Hall, who has had 2 poor first halves and been substituted at halftime against Dortmund and against Man City, I think the other one was. And then I think he had a really good game against, I want to say it was Man United. But he's generally, he scored in that game, didn't he? So, but like 2 out of his 3 performances, he's been taken off at half time because he's been a bit too weak. Would you rather have Tavernier take him on or Semenyo take him on? Who would you rather have on that right-hand side to be the one to try and beat him?
Either. I think that for me, as I said, I think Tavernier, Semenyo, whichever, they need to be the starters, which they are. I'd rather have Semenyo actually going at him and bullying him. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen those games you're referring to of Lewis Hall. I don't know what sort of player he is, if he's quick, if he's tall. My ignorance here, I generally don't know much about him. So is he someone that Semenyo could potentially bully more strength-wise, or is he pacey? Well, because I think that would be an advantage for Semenyo if physically. But either way, I think you're right. We've got to play at him. He's what, the 3rd choice left back behind Target and Burns. So we know how good Trippier is. So he can take care of himself. So I think that's the side to really target, Lascelles and Hall, because they're the 2 kind of stand-ins. So to speak. Lascelles has been a long time. He's vastly experienced. He's a good defender. So that is definitely, if I was to pick out one weakness with them, that is it. I mean, in all honesty, they're missing a host of players. We've spoken about that, but their first 11 is still incredibly strong. I think, if you look at Joe Linton and Longstaff, Willock, obviously he's been injured, but he's now fit and available again. Obviously, Almiron and Gordon only played 45 minutes in midweek. So, for me, obviously they're missing that central striker, be it Wilson or Isaac, which is a huge boost. They're obviously missing Guimaraes, who's a big loss, and obviously, as I said, the centre back and a left back. So all the injured players can't all play at the same time. So for me, they're missing 4 key positions today, and it's whether we take advantage of that. I think it'll be an attacking game, but as I said, I not knowing much about him, that's who we've got to target. I guess is Hall on that left hand side.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how positive do you feel after we've talked through all that? And everyone that's watching along, the 14 of you that are joining us at the moment, pop your predictions in the chat below. How do you think Bournemouth are going to do? What's your score prediction? Aaron, how about you? What do you think?
So I mean, about an hour ago, I was relatively confident. The closer we get to kick off, I think the fact that Billing's unavailable, the fact that Rothwell's not in, as we've discussed, I am very concerned about that midfield. I'd like to think we can really pin them back, and with those attackers, the likes of Almiron, Gordon, Willock, they're still very, very good players. So yes, they're missing players, but they're still an exceptionally strong team. And Eddie Howe, as we know, is going to know how to set them up. So I will stick with what I said initially in the pre-match analysis, which is a draw. I think I went for 2-2. I think there will be goals. So I will stick with that. I think that'll be a good result. The fact that Burnley and Luton lost is good. There's a massive
Yes.
gap now between the bottom 4 and the rest. But if we can, pick up a couple of results, hopefully we can join that pack and leave those bottom 3 completely isolated. But yeah, for now, I think those results have helped, although expected. Newcastle are still a very, very good team. I would snap your hand off for a draw now, but we can win it. Of course, we can win it. This is a good time to play Newcastle, as they've said. But we're missing key players as well. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going 1-1 for before the lineups came out, and I think I will stick with that. I am feeling that we will have a decent chance of getting a draw. But yeah, it's still going to be quite a tough one. Let's just have a look and see what everyone else is saying. Wrestling Archives going for a 2-1 Newcastle win. Nilo going for the famous Cherries Red Army 3-1. Nice to see you have a Newcastle fan in here with us going with a 6-0 to Newcastle. Yeah. Very optimistic, Donald. Wait a minute. Maybe, well, whichever. Other than that, or he's a very pessimistic Bournemouth fan. David, more optimistic with the lineups, but the combination of Trippier set pieces and their physical superiority does still scare me. Yeah, set pieces are still going to be an issue, but he is hoping for a draw. And Casper, hello there, guys, tuning in tonight. How are you all? Doing good, thanks, Casper. Hoping for a positive result. Right, so we are about 6 minutes till kickoff. I'm going to be a couple minutes behind because I'm watching this through the internet rather than on a TV. And even if you do it officially, you're still 3 minutes behind. So that's fun. Any final thoughts, Aaron, before I let you enjoy in the game in your peace and quiet at home?
I think we've got to start strong. I think and set the tone. Let's get into those tackles. Let's try and win those midfield battles. We know with Lewis, Cook, and Christie, we got players who can compete at least, and and put themselves about. But let's just let's not go too gung ho. Let's not all fly in. They'll pick us off. As I said, the likes of Gordon and Almiron, exceptionally pacey. Willock's quick too. So let's just be sensible. But let's stay in the game and not give stupid free kicks away. Let's see. I'll pop back on at half time and let's see how we're doing, and we'll chat then.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Thanks for joining, Aaron. And
I'll
see you again at half time. We'll chat a bit further.
Back with Cherries. Right.
The Cherries. Right. So, no, Nina, I threatened that at the start of the season, didn't I? That I needed to get a clock, and it keeps getting to 2:00 on a Saturday afternoon. And I go, I still haven't done that yet. So no, that is not good from me. I've got no excuse on that one. So I just need to get it done at some point. I need to put in the research and actually get it done. Right, as I mentioned, it's six minutes till kickoff, roughly officially. As I mentioned, I'm going to be a couple minutes behind. Unfortunately, I am watching it through Sky Sports, but they are still not bang on with what they bring through. So if you watch through the internet, it's just slower, which is frustrating. But the lineups are being shown out on Sky. And it's going to be interesting. I am more positive than I have been for a number of games, purely because I know that Newcastle aren't 100% at the moment. They have players like Almiron, Gordon, Trippier, Pope, Shah that have just basically played every minute that they really can at the moment. Obviously, Gordon and Almiron have played 45 minutes here and there, but they feature in basically every game. Willock's not long back from injury. Joe Linton's not long back from injury. Miley's making his first start ever for Newcastle in the league. Lewis Hall is not really used to the game yet. And they've got nothing to come off of the bench other than Tino Livramento. Tino Livramento is the only youngster that's got real quality, only player that's going to have the physicality and quality to come off the bench to impact the game. Not saying that Richie can't do something when he comes on, but he's clearly not what he used to be when he was at Bournemouth. He's 32, 33 now. Actually, that's a good one to look up. How old is Matt Richie now? 34. There we go. Bournemouth and Newcastle legend, Matt Ritchie, 34. So he's not going to really be doing all that much when he comes off the bench either. So we've got to really go at them and force them to work hard and hopefully create a few chances. Casper, we probably talked about this already. When I fill in the team, don't know. I haven't been listening to the coverage, so I don't know whether there's a particular reason. If it's not fitness related, then that would be weird, particularly as he signed the contract recently. So if it was an issue that he had with the coach, then why would he have signed a contract recently? Maybe he's got faith that Iraola is going to get kicked out at some point. I doubt it, but yeah. I can only imagine he picked up a knock in training last night, like yesterday or this morning. That's all I can really imagine. But like I said, I haven't been listening to the coverage, so I don't know why or if Iraola has been asked about it. Wrestling, where for you guys, gap opening between 16th and 17th. Yeah, but out of the teams that sort of are down near the bottom for Bournemouth to play. Mind you, Sheffield United can say the same thing as well. But I mean, Bournemouth haven't played Sheffield United. They haven't played Luton. They haven't played Crystal Palace. They haven't played Fulham. There's a bunch of teams that Bournemouth would go, right, we need to win or at least get a result from these games. And we haven't played those matches really as of yet. We've only played Burnley at home and Everton away of the ones that you would have said, Bournemouth, you've got to start winning these. And we were terrible away at Everton. And then we just about managed to beat Burnley at home. This is a game that you'd hope we can at least get a result from. Even if it's not a win, you'd hope that we get a result. But realizing I've just talked through the minute silence. I'm very sorry. I wasn't paying attention. So apologies for that. I didn't intend to. Right. Okay. So we are not long from kickoff. Those of you that are going to stick around, please do be active in the comments. I am in the chat. I'm here for you to bounce ideas off, for you to get my opinion on whatever it might be. But please do stick around and interact. It's a live and interactive chat. Newcastle are set to kick us off with Longstaff over the ball, just waiting on the referee's whistle. And go. Oh, okay, it's bang on half past. I wasn't as far behind as I expected to be. But we have Newcastle kicking from left to right, Bournemouth kicking from right to left. At the moment, it very much is Tavernier on the left, Semenyo on the right, Clivert playing behind Solanke, and both Cook and Christie starting very high up to try and pressure Newcastle, who haven't got out of their own half yet. Clivert on the ball on the left-hand side. Tavernier playing the ball in behind, and it's a shot straight at the keeper from Christie. But first shot in anger from just outside the box by Ryan Christie. Nice little bit of work. Clivert actually combining with a teammate, which is nice to see. Tavernier playing the right ball all the way back, and Christie just doesn't really get the power on it, and he fires it straight at Pope. Don't you just love it when producers decide to replay something twice that really had no importance and you almost miss something important happening? Ball played long up to Semenyo, who manages to win it, flicks it on to Solanke, who almost loses it, but we do get a throw in on the right-hand side. Just hearing on commentary, Radu has an illness. So it is not form related. He is out of the squad because of illness. Bournemouth winning the ball back on the halfway line. Semenyo bombing forward. He still has it. Keeps going. He's still Semenyo. He's forward. He takes the shot, and it's a good save. He definitely could have played that to Tavernier, but it's a very good start. He pushes forward nicely, drives into the Newcastle area, just to the edge of the Newcastle area, and fires shot well left-footed, which of course he scored against Burnley with his left foot. And Bournemouth are pressing really well, causing Newcastle to lose the ball in their own half. Kelly with the throw-in down the line to Solanke, who just about keeps it in, puts it into the box, gets it to Semenyo, who can't quite get the power on the header, but it's played back to Semenyo, calls for handball, but I don't think that's going to happen. Tavernier with a wonderful bit of pace to win the ball off Willock. This is great stuff. This is a fantastic start. Kelly with a nice ball down the line, trying to find Clivert, but it's good. Trippier receives the ball first, plays it back to Pope, whose long ball reaches Cook under no pressure, doesn't receive a call, heads it to Longstaff. Really nice start, though. Really good start, putting Newcastle under a lot of pressure. This is what we want to be seeing. Relatively well composed, even at the back so far. Zabani being closed down by two, or Zabani or Aarons, whoever that was, being closed down by two players. I think it was Zab. But clears it long. Now Newcastle have it in our half, with Joelinton on the left-hand side. Now with Willock, plays to Longstaff, rather, to Almiron in the middle of the pitch. Trippier now with a bit of time, plays the ball through to Longstaff in behind the defence, but it's played back to Almiron, who's looking for options. Back to Longstaff, to Trippier. Plays it back to Miley. Sounds like the crowd are in good voice as well. And winning the ball back off Joelinton nicely, and the counter-attack is kind of on. Semenyo, though, loses the ball. He's far too loose with that touch, and the ball's won back by Miley. Newcastle are playing it around the halfway line. To answer your question, Nilo, it is 4 minutes 30 seconds now. 4 minutes 30. Casper, with Luton losing so 3 points would be massive. Would take a draw against a weakened Newcastle. I would take a draw against Newcastle. It doesn't matter if it's a weakened Newcastle side. I'd take a draw. But if you can, you go for you really try and push for the win. Nice touch by Solanke. Keeps hold of the ball then. Well, now Tavernier's on the ball. Need Solanke to get back in the middle. Kelly to Zabani, who was just inside the Newcastle half. No pressure being applied. And this is what I went on to Radio Newcastle last night, and what the one of the presenters said was, how do you think Bournemouth are going to cope with Newcastle's high press? And I said, they're not going to press this game. They're not going to press as much as they usually do, because they don't have they don't have the fitness. And we've just played through their press. Aaron's on the ball on the right-hand side under pressure. Semenyo now on the right-hand side. He pushes inside, trying to get past Hall, but I think he's fouled him, but the ref hasn't given anything. Clearance by Willock. Joelinton's now on the ball, but Aaron's is pressing well, cleared by Longstaff. Senesi heads it away from Gordon. But Miley then heads it back towards Gordon, and Gordon's going up to Lewis Cook. Lewis Cook's got to grab hold of his shirt. He goes around Cook. Oh, that's a fantastic sliding tackle from Cook. It is a Newcastle corner. But I was interesting to find, though, that Cook was essentially playing a right back. He was covering Aaron's very well. Yeah, exactly. That was the point I was making. They don't have anyone to bring on. They've got the only players that have got any experience in Newcastle subs bench are Dummett, who's not going to be coming on, is he? Richie, who's 34 now, and Livramento, who's a quality player, but hasn't really played very much for Newcastle. Thankfully, that corner comes to basically nothing, and we now have a 3-on-2, but that's a very good sliding tackle from Trippier to take the ball off Tavernier, and apparently it bounced back off Tavernier, so it is a Newcastle throw. Pardon me. Newcastle are just playing it around the back at the moment. Lascelles pushes forward. Lovely bit of physicality from Senesi, wins the ball back off Gordon very quickly. And they're not pressing, like I said. Shabani on the ball back to Senesi. And it is Gordon playing as the striker. It's actually Joe Linton that's playing as the left winger. With Willock as more of the attacking, more of one of the eights, which is what I expected. Very poor pass from Aarons, and now Christie's out of position. Good work from good work from Semenyo initially. Cook wins the ball back and passes it straight back to another one of the Newcastle's players, and shot from Longstaff from 20-odd yards out is tipped over by Neto. A save you'd expect him to make. But yeah, struck well, and that is going in if it's not saved. But if he had let that in, there would have been some serious questions. But this is now Newcastle's second corner of the game. You can see some of the mismatches in the box, though. You've got Aarons going up against Willock. For one, nice header out there by Solanke. But there'll be a few other shorter players that are going to have to deal with people that are much bigger than them. Not too many, but there'll be a few. Nice pass from Trippier. Hooked in. Almiron loses the ball to Semenyo, who quickly passes it to Tavernier, and we have a counter-attack. It's a 3-on-2. If Tavernier can get past Lewis Hall, which he can't. Just a slightly too strong a touch there. But yeah, in situations like that, Bournemouth have the opportunity to counter. There is no doubt. Nice pass from Christine to Tavernier. Tavernier exchanging a 1-2 with Solanke. Now he's pushing forward. Get in there. Crossing's the ball in. It's not a good cross. It's easily cleared by Shah. Yeah, that's a really good opportunity for Tavernier to lay that on to A, Semenyo, who'd got past Lewis Hall, or B, a bit more of a cutback, and Solanke was the option, and he got absolutely nothing on the cross, and it dribbled towards Fabian Shah. Tavernier's hit the deck there under no pressure, seemingly. Got a bit of a bump from Trippier, probably, and the long ball goes to no one. And Newcastle have the ball back. It is 10 minutes now, and Bournemouth have definitely dominated those 10 minutes, but without a goal to show for it yet. But 2 shots on target out of 2 is a good start. Just need to keep that up. Long ball from Neto to Semenyo, who wins the challenge with Hall, who plays it first time to Solanke, who's in behind the defence. He's looking for options, and it's blocked by Lascelles. Solanke was almost one-on-one, but it didn't quite work out. It's a great tackle from Lascelles. A wonderful ball over the top. Shah's nowhere. Solanke's looking for options, but he doesn't have them. Hello, Aidan. I'm doing well, thank you. There's your shout out. Oh, Casper. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's very much been Bournemouth on top so far. I'll bring up some stats in a bit. But yeah, really, really good start. Corner comes in from the right by Tavernier. Up and punched away ahead of Semenyo by Pope. But Kelly's on the ball with a bit of space on the left-hand side, now closed down by Hall. Kelly chops back nicely. Lewis Cook with the ball into the box. Almost Clivert looking for a flick on. He misses it. It falls to Joe Linton. It bounces to Willock. Willock pushing up the pitch. A lot of Newcastle players were just on the halfway line there and not doing much. So there's a stat that Sky Sports have just popped up. Touches in the opposition box. Bournemouth are winning that 6-0 at the moment. These are all encouraging stats, but they're not the stat, obviously, which is goals scored. As a moment, obviously, it's still 0-0. But it's certainly been encouraging. Kelly moving backwards into his own half, plays it nicely to Neto. And you see again in situations like that, Almiron's just not charging that down. Almiron is you're so used to seeing Almiron run at full pelt all the time. He didn't try and close Neto down there at all. Kelly with a ball in behind, trying to find Cliver, and it's intercepted by Lascelles quite well. Bit of a tangle of legs there afterwards. But Bournemouth have a throw-in level with the Newcastle box on the left-hand side. Don't know why Tavernier took it off Kelly. He's just given it back to Kelly. I don't know what he was doing there. But Kelly takes the throw to Tavernier. Kelly with the first-time cross in, and it just into a nice area. If anyone makes a front post run there, they can nick that in. But and Fabian Schär has gone down. He's shaken his head, and it looks like Newcastle have got another injury. Well, Casper, you were talking before. I was listing out the substitutions that Newcastle can make. I mentioned Paul Dummett. He's not going to come on, is he? I would be fairly confident he is now. Dummett has played 2 games, has played 90 minutes at centre-back against Man City and Man United and kept a clean sheet in both in the Carabao Cup. So he's done a job there before. Or there's Emil Kraft, to be fair. Emil Kraft has also played 190 minutes against Man United, I want to say. So he could be the other one. Kraft has been the one that's gone to warm up, although Dummett is there as well. Considering Schär is playing at left centre-back, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Dummett that comes on if Schär is unable to carry on. Now, we'll see whether he does. But he did give a shake of the head when he went down that it was like, very much felt like he didn't think he could carry on. But you know what football clubs are like. They'll just give him an injection, maybe give him a rubber magic sponge and send him back out there. Sorry, you mentioned that for Liverpool and something. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Well, Kraft is a right back and Dummett is a left back. They've just filled in at centre back for Newcastle. They have not come through as centre backs. Dummett was a regular for Newcastle for many a year at left back in the Ashley years, whereas Kraft was often derided by Newcastle fans. Then Eddie Howe actually turned him into a half decent right back as backup to Trippier for that first 2/3 of a season that Newcastle were under Eddie Howe. But yeah, they've just had to play centre back a few times for Newcastle recently, but they are not typical centre backs. Well, they are not centre backs by trade. Having said that, Schär is wanting to come back on the pitch, and he is now back on the pitch. I need to look up if it's Schär or Cher. Newcastle trying to play through the middle, but Senesi makes a lovely interception there. Solanke is now on the ball, trying to take on his man, looking for options. He passes to Tavernier. Tavernier with the first-time cross. He's asking for a handball that he's never going to get. Trippier had his arms by his side. Cook to Tavernier. Finds Kelly on the left-hand side. Plays it back to Cook. And back to Senesi. He's looking for an adventurous ball, but doesn't find it. Goes to Zabani, who brings it forward and plays a nice ball in behind to Cliver, but he can't control it. It wasn't the greatest ball. Good pressure from Bournemouth, though. Cook gets the ball back, tries to play it first time. Doesn't. It gets intercepted, but it falls to Tavernier, who plays it. Tries to play it to Solanke, but Solanke gets in the way and fouls Cher. They tried to play it quickly. Tavernier fouls Longstaff. Newcastle is still on the ball, pushing forward. Nice tackle initially led by Senesi, but the ball stays with Almiron. And now it's Lewis Hall on the left-hand side. Nice 1-2 there. Lewis Hall pushes into the box, takes a shot, and it's straight down the throat of Neto, who rolls it out quickly to Semenyo. That was maybe not the most advised early pass because we're still under pressure at the back, but now Neto's got some time and space. Under pressure from Joe Linton, plays it long. Solanke up against Kraft. The ball falls to Cliver, which is good. Semenyo has gone down. But Bournemouth is playing on. Tavernier is still on the ball. And I think we've slowed it down. We're not putting the ball out yet. No, we're putting the ball out now. Yeah, Semenyo, that's... Semenyo, that's a big blow. Semenyo, you feel like if it depends on if he goes off. Obviously, I thought Charles was going off, and then he didn't. So we'll see if Semenyo gets a rub of the magic sponge and ends up staying on. But Semenyo's been Semenyo's had such an impact for us since he's really sort of been getting those minutes. How do you know this stuff? Just remember, I'm a font of knowledge for useless information. Philip Billing in the stands with Alex Scott there. I'd imagine it's an injury then if Billing is not playing and he's in the crowd. Yeah, I mean, I watched a fair bit of Newcastle before they were taken over by the Saudis because my couple of times that I've been to Newcastle, I really like the place. So I had a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle. That's before they got taken over. So I know a few bits and pieces about Newcastle anyway, or the Newcastle squad over the years. And, I follow the Premier League to some extent. Newcastle have had a couple of relegations, two relegations recently, but they've still played fair amount in the Prem, obviously. Looks like Semenyo will be okay to come back on. He's just testing his right ankle. But the game carries on. Kelly with a long ball up to try and find Solanke, but intercepted by Lascelles, who tries to pass it to Trippier, and Trippier hits it off Solanke for a Newcastle throw. But it's a good opportunity for Bournemouth to press them really high. Can hear the Newcastle chanting at the moment. Oh, Kelly. Oh, I was just a little worried there. Kelly with a pass back to Zabani. I thought it was going to fall to Joe Linton, but it doesn't. Solanke making a nuisance of himself against Lascelles, but Lascelles does well there. And it's a long clearance from Trippier into nowhere. So that ends up back at the feet of Neto. Neto plays it to Zabani. And at the moment, it's they've swapped Joe Linton and Gordon. Joe Linton's playing as the striker at the moment, and Gordon's playing off the left. I don't know whether that's to do with Joe Linton's pressing. Certainly, Gordon was not putting all that much into the press earlier on. Good work from Christie there. Gets the ball to Cliver, who just about holds on to it under pressure from two Newcastle players. Ball's with Zabani on the right-hand side, just past the halfway line. Goes backwards to Senesi. Tavernier in the middle of the pitch almost gives that away, but thankfully we just about keep it. Interesting to see that Tavernier just turning up in the middle of the park, because he's done that a couple of times. Clivert's just shifted to the left-hand side. When Tavernier's just wandered into the middle, Clivert's just taking the opportunity to shift to the left. So that's an interesting little rotation that we might see something more happen of. Oh, that's amazing. Some Lewis Hall on the ball just completely slips over under no pressure, and Semenyo tries to clip the ball past him, but it bounces off Hall and just falls right at the feet of Gordon. Thankfully, Aarons does well, and we win the ball back with a throw. Newcastle pressing a little bit more now. Ball back with Neto under pressure from Joe Linton. Hits it long. Clive going up against Lascelles. I don't see him winning that one very often, but Cook does win that battle against Longstaff. Tavernier on the ball on the left-hand side. Plays it through to Solanke. Solanke still on the ball. He just about loses it under his feet. Cook just was hobbling there for a second after coming down from that aerial challenge with Longstaff. I hope that's not a more permanent thing. Senesi quite far forward on the ball. Plays it back to Cook. Plays it back to Sabani. Semenyo. Lewis Hall looking like he's a primary school kid going up against Semenyo there. Semenyo just lets him bounce off it. Lovely crossfield ball from Senesi to Aarons going up against Gordon. Gordon's with a decent tackle, and the ball goes out for a throw-in. Let's just have a look-see at... Let's see if I can find some of the stats for the game so far. It's difficult for me to, because I've only got two screens, so I'm using one to basically have the stream, making sure that I can see that everything's showing up on the stream, and on the other screen I've got the game going on. But I want to show some stats as well, so I'm overlapping, so I'm missing some of the game, I'm missing some of the game at times. But Newcastle are just playing it around the back at the moment. But Semenyo challenging Lewis Hall very well, almost fouls him. But Lewis Hall does get the ball to Miley, who gets it back to Hall, who puts it inside to Gordon. Nice bit of play from the youngsters. Good crossfield pass from Gordon, finds Almiron on the right-hand side, who plays it in behind for Joe Linton. Good pressure from Senesi and forces Joe Linton to play a poor pass, and the ball's with Bournemouth again. Almost loses out there. Some good harassment from Miley on Tavernier. Lewis Cook playing a bit of a risky ball there. Hello, Sean. So far, it's been going really well. I think Bournemouth have looked the better side quite comfortably. Had more touches in the opposition box. Have looked more likely to score. Have had more shots on target. Let's just try and quickly show up some stats for you. Bring that banner down temporarily. Newcastle have had a bit more possession, but 4 shots to 2, 2 on target each. Oh, I thought we were winning on shots on target. Interesting. I don't know where the other shot... Oh, that was it. Yeah. I remember where the other shot on target for them came from. So 2 shots on target each. 3 shots inside the box. XG is pretty equivalent. But if we look at the momentum bar, it certainly has Bournemouth having very good start. Newcastle came back into it, and then it's been relatively even more so since then. So, yeah, still quite to and fro. It's 26 minutes on the clock now. And yeah, I would say I've been impressed with Bournemouth's energy and their aggression. Kelly, oh, that's got to be a corner. Kelly doing really well there going up against Almiron. Almiron almost got past him. Kelly had a good handful of Almiron's shirt there, which is very risky. He forces... Almiron does really well there. Kelly forces Almiron out of play, but Almiron just flicks his foot towards the ball, and he bounces it off Kelly's shin and out for a corner before he's forced out of the game. Very good work from Almiron. This is Newcastle's third corner, I want to say. They haven't done anything from the first two, but let's not count our chickens. Played short by Trippier. Now Willock's on the ball. In the box, plays a cross in to the back post. Saved by Neto. Header from Lascelles. And the assistant ref has given an offside. I thought Lascelles was asking the referee to have a look at it, to check his watch to see if it's gone over the line, but the assistant ref has given an offside. And Lascelles is just barely off at the back post. Good header from Lascelles. Good save from Neto. Was definitely not over the line. Oh, actually, Lascelles is trying to head it back towards goal, and it flicks off Kelly's face, and Neto has to make the save. But obviously none of that counts because it was offside. Long kick up the field from Neto to restart play. Zabani wins the second header. And Hall plays it forward. Great work from Zabani to beat out Willock. Christie tries a no-touch turn and ends up losing the ball immediately. Really, really stupid there from Christie. He can't be doing that in his own third. You need to take a touch to make sure you got it under control. Lovely work from Lewis Cook going up against Longstaff there. I think Cook is doing a really nice job in sort of filling in defensive holes. Plays the ball forward to Kluivert. Kluivert still on the ball, has options, takes the shot. Oh, and it's a good save. This is more like what we were expecting under Iraola as well. We expect these high volume shots. There are options. I don't think there's any great options though. And Kluivert does take a decent shot there. It's something you'd expect Pope to save every day of the week, but it's a decent strike. There's no doubt it's a good strike from there. I do like having Kluivert, and now Almiron's gone down. This game is full of players just with niggling injuries. Almiron's feeling his right calf. That is the calf, isn't it? Or is it thigh? Am I thinking of thigh? No, thigh's on the top. Hamstring? No, not hamstring. Hamstring. That's what I'm thinking of. I think I'm thinking of hamstring. I'm not great with the different muscles in the leg. Matt Ritchie is being prepared, so it looks like Almiron is coming off. Yeah, hamstring. That's the one. If he's got a tight hamstring, he's not carrying on. I don't see him carrying on. But he's back up and walking off the pitch, obviously, because he's had some medical assistance. Eddie Howe is in 6s and 7s trying to organize his team. I really do think that. But Casper, as I mentioned to you, Casper, one of the players one of the few players I could see coming on the pitch is Matt Ritchie. This is much earlier than would have been expected. It's just gone half an hour. And as I mentioned, Matt Ritchie is getting a round of applause from the entire ground. Bournemouth legend, Matt Ritchie, who is going to be playing, I think, at right mid. And in the last 3 years, I don't think Matt Ritchie has played that. I don't think Matt Ritchie's played an hour at right mid for Newcastle in the last 3 years. Corner to Bournemouth, Lewis Cook from the left-hand side. Swings it in nicely, but Pope with an easy flick. Shot by Christie. Oh, good save. And it's gone and bounced off the corner flag and gone for a throw-in. Much better corners from Bournemouth. Good punch out from Pope to an extent. He's under pressure, but Christie takes a nice shot, hits it low, bounces, skids off the ground. Easy save from Pope, but good reactions nonetheless, and punches out for a throw-in. Matt Ritchie takes his first touch on the right-hand side there. Back to Trippier, back to Lascelles. Under pressure from Bournemouth, doing really well there. Lewis Miley in the middle of the pitch. Back to Lascelles, who has to clear it long now. No, he plays it to Ritchie, who lets it through his legs. So it goes to Joe Linton, who somehow still has the ball. Really impressive from Newcastle to be able to work their way out of that one. I thought Lascelles had to hit that long, but he didn't. Gordon still on the right-hand side. Under pressure from Aarons. Maybe a little bit generous, that foul. But if it's more in the back than it is in the side, then it is then it's definitely a foul. Long ball attempted by Newcastle, completely unsuccessful. Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Casper. Neto with the long ball, flicked on by Solanke to no one, ends up in Pope's gloves. On target shots has just been shown up by Sky, and whilst when I showed up those SofaScore stats, it was 2-2 at the time. It's now 4-2 to Bournemouth in terms of shots on target. Admittedly, one of those shots was from just outside the box. The other one was just barely inside the box. So they're not golden chances by any means, but there have been shots that have been on target. Bournemouth haven't been doing that enough recently. We only got one against Man City. Admittedly, that was a goal, but Wayne, our Fulham fan, thank you very much for joining us. You're more positive than I allow myself to be in terms of thinking Bournemouth will win 2-1, but I appreciate the support. It's certainly been going well so far, but that's all sort of like reaching this point at which you've got to go, okay, this is great. Let's just get that first goal. We're all working well on B and B+, but if you want to get an A, you've got to get that goal. Lewis Cook with a free kick into the box, cleared comfortably by Miley, falls to Tavernier, who wants to turn and shoot, but can't, but he still has the ball. Back to Lewis Cook, massive overload at the back post. Pope's coming out from miles away, punches the ball away. That was impressive decision-making from Nick Pope. Did very well there. It was a massive overload at the back post. We had 3 of our 4 tallest players all lined up at the edge of the box on the back post, and Pope just comes and cleans the ball out above Kelly. Long ball upfield. Tavernier loses out to Trippier, but Trippier plays it awkwardly to Pope, who has to whack it out under pressure from Solanke, who's having another great game, I think. Ball back in play with Kelly to Senesi. Senesi's also having a decent game. I haven't mentioned it because a couple of times he's done it, I've sort of been talking about other things. There's been a few times that Senesi has won the ball well and driven us up the pitch with it, and hasn't been outmuscled by anyone yet. Good work from Christie. Semenyo on the ball. Plays it nicely back to Aarons. Now Cook on the ball, who turns under pressure from Willock. Back to Zabani. Plays the ball forward to Christie with a decent first touch. Oh dear. Christie trying to find Tavernier or Cliver, either one. He completely messes it up and gives the ball straight to Longstaff. Then takes down Matt Ritchie, his fellow Scotland international, and is very lucky to not get a yellow card. I have no idea how Christie didn't get a yellow card for that. That was such a cynical foul. But thankfully, no yellow. Newcastle on the ball in the Bournemouth half with Joe Linton, who was tackled by Senesi, and Cook takes control. Aarons on the ball around to Gordon, looking for options forward, doesn't have it, so goes backward to Christie, who's still under pressure, but plays a nice ball to Senesi, who's under no pressure, can bring the ball forward a bit and look for his forward options, but isn't really anything, so goes backward to Zabani. Aarons plays the long ball, looking for Solanke, and he finds him in the box. Lovely touch. Semenyo on the ball, takes the shot. Oh, it's just wide. Oh, another great chance. That's probably the best one of the lot so far. Wonderful work by Solanke. Takes one touch with the head and then back heels it to Semenyo in the box, who takes a first-time shot, and it's not a save, it is off target. But, oh, that was... it does come off Shah's hand, but there's never a handball. And if anything, it helps Semenyo. As much as I'd do anything for us to get a penalty, that's not a handball. It comes off Shah's hand. It's not a handball. It's right by his side, completely natural. But that's another good chance to add to the 4 shots on target we've taken so far. Really need to be going in with a goal. There is more than just a point available here tonight, no doubt. No doubt. Long ball forward. Senesi with it. Ball's just about cleared by Newcastle. And now it's a bit of a counter. You've got Gordon on the right-hand side. Senesi goes for a slide and completely misses it. Someone's got to close Gordon down now. He just about gets into the box. He fires it through. Well defended by Tavernier. Rash from Senesi. Unnecessarily slow. Well done by Tavernier, because that could have been... that could have been a lot worse. Throw in from Newcastle into Willock, who's in the box. Christie was all over him, thankfully. I don't think there'll be anything for that. Gordon goes down, but it's a good tackle from Aarons, and it's a corner kick. So this will be Newcastle's 4th or 5th corner? Something like that. From the left-hand side, so I'm fairly certain Trippier will be taking this one. A lovely reminder from Sky that we have conceded more goals from set pieces than anyone else this season. Corner comes in, and it's headed out. Matt Ritchie on the ball on the right-hand side, takes a touch with the volley. Then almost goes to Gordon. Lovely tackle there. And now there is a counter-attack on. Tavernier on the ball on the left-hand side, closed down by Matt Ritchie. Lovely ping across to Cliver if he can keep it in on the right-hand side. But Newcastle have started to get bodies back. It's the counter-attack's ended. Aarons on the ball, looking for a cross in. Gets it to Kelly on the left-hand side, who plays it back to Senesi. As much as Aaron and I spoke at the start of the game about worrying about our midfield, we have actually been pretty strong there. Aaron's on the right-hand side, takes on Miley, takes on Hall, puts in a decent cross. Lascelles is all over Solanke, but nothing happens. Cliver and Tavernier get in each other's way. Lovely touch by Cook. Semenyo's in the box. Oh, he just completely misses the ball. This is a lovely ball in behind by Christie first time. And he's just onside. But he needs to take one touch to set himself, and he misses it with that first touch. If he just takes this down with his right foot, it wasn't. He should have done better with that. Oh, dear. Nice of you to join us, Casper. Please do keep an eye on how the score goes, because this could do well for us. But we'll have to see. Don't want to get too far ahead of us. Semenyo's just taking up a position on the left-hand side again now. Yeah, Tavernier and Semenyo have swapped sides for the time being. But we have Aarons on the ball on the right hand side, putting it in behind for Solanke again, who's in front of Shah now. Keeps hold of the ball, tries to get past him, but doesn't. A little bit of a trick, doesn't quite work out. But Bournemouth do have a throw-in on the right-hand side with Aarons. He's looking for options, but it hasn't worked yet. Still got the ball in his hands. Tries to get to Solanke in the box, but doesn't get there. But it does fall to Christie, who finds Kelly. Now Semenyo on the left-hand side going up against Trippier. And he's got Ritchie for company there as well. Kelly on the ball. He tries to cross it. It comes off Longstaff and falls nicely into the hands of Pope. Newcastle with some nice combinations there, pushing forward. Miley now on the ball. Goes to Gordon, who still has it, pushing inside, looking for options on the right-hand side. Finds Ritchie with Trippier overlapping. Trippier looking to put the ball in, but Kelly, that's unlucky. Oh, well, okay. The ref, the assistant ref hasn't seen that one. That's bounced off. Trippier takes the cross, bounces off Kelly, hits Trippier again, bounces back off Kelly and goes out for a corner, but it's missed by the assistant ref. It should have been a corner, but the assistant ref has missed it, and it's a goal kick. Trippier had a nice little arm around the shoulder on Kelly because Kelly knew full well that was a corner, but the assistant ref missed it, so that's fine. Goal kick. Lovely long ball by Neto. Solanke slips and has gone down injured. I wonder what went wrong there. That was innocuous. Oh, God, what is that? Is that a groin injury? I don't know what's happened there. Neto plays a long ball. The Newcastle midfield completely misses it, so it falls to Solanke, who can take a touch with his chest, but his right foot goes from underneath him. It slips in the ground, in the turf. And Solanke just goes down. He's been on his back since then. I think that might be a groin injury. There hasn't been a lot of stoppages this half, so I'm hoping there's not going to be a lot. I'm hoping there's not going to be a lot of stoppage time. There's probably going to be at least 2 minutes, maybe 3. 6! Blimey, I thought I was getting better at judging these. There's flipping heck. I mean, okay, yeah, so Almiron went down. Shah was down for a while as well, actually. Semenyo went down for a bit. Okay, no, I forgot how many injuries there have been. 6 minutes. So Solanke needs to last these next 5.5 minutes to hopefully get him in the hopefully we get him in the treatment room and sort him out, because Bournemouth don't have a striker on the bench. I don't know whether Kiefer Moore is injured or whether Iraola has just given up on him, but we don't have a striker on the bench. Semenyo can play as a striker, which is good. So we have one on the field. You just put Semenyo up front and you shift and you get Sinistera or Ouattara on the wing, but not great. Of course, Kluivert could also play as a striker. Kluivert is currently playing as the sort of 9.5 at the moment. Newcastle are passing the ball around the back under very little pressure. And now Matt Ritchie and Trippier have the ball on the right-hand side, but it gets recycled back to centre-backs. Solanke is back on the pitch, and he has just gone into a challenge, and he's just about won the ball. Kluivert took the ball off Christie there unnecessarily. Willock with the ball on the right-hand side. Gets it back from Lewis Hall. Willock plays it through to Matt Ritchie on the right-hand side, who cuts it back, but it's well cleared by Senesi. awkward bouncing ball. Trippier is under pressure, so he whacks it forward, and Senesi does the same. Solanke tries to take a touch on his chest, but it just gets too far behind him. Another long ball attempted by Trippier. And good header backwards by Kelly to Neto. It's been very encouraging for Bournemouth so far. Very encouraging. Up until that last moment where you're like, right, okay, now you got to score. It's all good and well taking a bunch of shots on target. One of those has got to go past the keeper. And weirdly, our best chance was off target. It was Semenyo being set up by Solanke. But Semenyo's looked good again, coming in off that right-hand side. Solanke has had a pretty good game so far. Don't think he's had a shot yet, actually, Solanke. I think he's just been more providing. Great cover again by Lewis Cook. We may have lost Alex Scott, but Lewis Cook coming in has been a blessing because he's had a great game so far. Lewis Cook, no doubt, and he's so important to have someone. If we can't have Tyler Adams, it's got to be Lewis Cook. Really, although Alex Scott admittedly did play very well. Pardon me, in that deeper role against Burnley. Ball's gone out of the halfway line for a Newcastle throw. 49 minutes on the clock, which means we are through 4 of our 6 minutes of added time. Good interception there from Aarons. Maybe one last chance before the referee blows for half-time. Kelly still on the ball just inside her own half. Bournemouth have just been passing it around at the back. Nothing going on. Senesi still on the ball. Newcastle aren't really putting much pressure on. Joe Linton now is initiating a bit of a press, but a nice ball forward from Zabani. But Christie immediately loses it. Good tackle from Aarons, gets it to Lewis Cook, who plays it back to Lloyd Kelly. Less than a minute to go. Do want to see us create one more chance before the halftime whistle, ideally. Tavernier on the ball, plays it inside to Cliver, who plays it back to Zabani, who's now inside the Newcastle half. Aarons on the ball. Plays it over the top to Christie, who can't keep it ahead of Shah. Who hooks the ball out of play. 30 seconds. Tavernier on the ball on the left side, back to Kelly, who looks for a long ball, plays it quite nicely to Semenyo. Good first touch. That's much better from Kelly in terms of the long balls. But with a few seconds left to go in the half, doesn't look like Bournemouth are going to do anything. Waiting to see when the referee blows his whistle. Not yet. Kelly tries a ball, doesn't come off. Goes out for a Bournemouth throw. I'm expecting the referee to check his watch any second now and blow for half-time. He hasn't done yet. Admittedly, Solanke did go down for a bit before the 6 minutes was put up, so the referee's obviously making sure that every minute is counted, every second is counted. Kelly still on the ball, and there's the halftime whistle. Right. It's been encouraging. However, as this tells you, it is still 0-0. And Bournemouth probably should have gone ahead at this point already. And That is the concern. But it's been positive, very positive. And we'll see what happens in the second half. I am going to get us just into a quick break. I expect Aaron to come back on in a second, and we will have a little chat about that first half. So I will be back with you all in a couple of minutes. Speak to you then. And we're back. Right, there we go. When I haven't muted myself again. Right, Aaron, what did you think of that?
I thought it was pretty good generally. Everything apart from the finish, wasn't it? I thought we definitely deserved to be leading that game. I thought some really good play. I thought Semenyo, was shooting on sight, which is great to see. Christie had a chance really early on. Christie at the edge of the box probably isn't the play you want to see there. It was comfortable for Pope. But then Semenyo picks up the ball, drives, low shot, good save. Christie had a shot later, brilliant save from Pope. We had some chances. I think Dom could have squared it in that passage of play to Tav. Obviously, Semenyo himself missed a good chance, not controlling the ball. So we kind of did everything but score, I think it's fair to say. I thought, and then at the back, I thought Senesi was immense against Joe Linton, really won that battle. I think Lloyd Kelly will be breathing a big sigh of relief that Almiron's gone off because although he handled him pretty well, when you got Matt Ritchie there, without wanting to tempt fate, he's not going to skin him and he's not going to out jump him. So, he should be all right there. This is a great opportunity. I think we said before the game, now that Almiron's off as well, even more of an opportunity. They've still got players who can hurt us. They could have scored, they had some dangerous play. But it would have been against a run of play for me. I think we fully deserve to be winning. So let's just hope we carry on. Will Newcastle be as bad second half? That's the question. They haven't got the legs on the bench to help them. So we'll see. Heart in the mouth moment when Dom was down for a few seconds. It looked really bad, but obviously it seems okay. So fingers crossed. But yeah, very, very encouraged so far. Some really good football. And it's just that final finish. It's that final pass and the final shot. Just can't beat what is a very good goalkeeper in Pope.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. Oh, that's the wrong button. Yeah, it's a close one in terms of, just generally, whilst we have created chances, and I think that on balance, you certainly wouldn't hold it against Bournemouth if they'd gone 1-0 up. They would have very much deserved it. There haven't been too many brilliantly clear-cut chances. The best chance of the match, I think, for me so far was Semenyo after Solanke's back heel, which just missed the left-hand post. I get your point on the Solanke one. I don't think Tavernier was an option on that one. I think if he'd been a bit quicker to get there, he would have gone for it. And Solanke definitely was looking up for options. I don't think Tavernier was quite in the position to receive it. Lascelles was too much in the way, and he put in a good slide tackle there. I was very worried when Solanke went down there as well. That would have been a very poor end to a very good half. What do you make of any particular players that have stood out to you after that so far?
I think, as I said, I think Senesi's done a brilliant job against Joe Linton. He's really, really playing well. Some of his raking passes are great as well. I mean, so far, touch wood, including Neto, the whole back four and the goalkeeper have been good. I think, as I said, Kelly, I feel safe with Kelly at that left back. I think Aarons has done well against Gordon so far. I mean, we spoke about Cook and Christie in the middle. They've been doing fine. I mean, it's interesting, actually. I just said, is Willock on the pitch? I've hardly seen Willock at all. Which, so hoping he doesn't step up, because that's where they could win that midfield, because he's been anonymous so far. And Christie hasn't, Christie's obviously playing deeper, so he kind of noticed he's not there, but he's doing so well. Lewis Cook, they're neat and tidy. Kluivert's look bright. I think anyone's playing poorly. We've been here before, and we're not taking our chances. And I think, will we be as good, and will they be as bad? That's the question. Second half, Eddie will clearly look to tweak things, maybe, and know what a tactician he is. So, yeah, obviously we got options on the bench to bring on, whether that's Sinistera or Brooks. We'll see. But I wouldn't change anything at the moment, personally. I think we'll just see how the game plays out. I mean, a draw obviously wouldn't be disastrous at all, but this game's there for the taking, and I can't help but feel this is a real opportunity against Newcastle. That they've still got some great players on the pitch, but we won't have a better chance with the players they got off unavailable now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It was something that we spoke about, I think, before the game. I certainly mentioned it before the game, that when you consider the level of player that they've currently got available to them and the amount of players they've currently got available, I mean, I mentioned it during the commentary in the first half. The only players they've got on the bench that have got any real game time is Dummett, who you don't expect to come on, Ritchie, who I wouldn't have expected on after half an hour, but had to because of the Almiron injury, and Livramento, who we'll see whether he comes on later on. But even then,
I was surprised that Livramento didn't come on for Ritchie, because he can play on that wide right, and he's quick. True. Ritchie, look, we know how good Ritchie can be, but if you ask Lloyd Kelly who he'd rather play up against, I mean, Matt Ritchie, he should have him in his pocket. He really shouldn't let him do anything.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking to myself, how long has it been since Ritchie played played an hour for Newcastle at right wing? Like he's been playing at left back and left wing back for so many of the last few years when he's been fit, which has not been very often.
It's also worth mentioning that I think Joe Linton and Longstaff both played 90 minutes in Dortmund, I believe. So will they be able to carry on going and have the legs for that? That's what we've got to hope. But hopefully they should tire more than we should. But look, as I said, I think right now I'm pretty happy. It's a big 45 ahead. If we can get a result today and then go to Sheffield United and win, then everyone's talking about a gap to the bottom three, and they're completely isolated. But I just hope we can finish off our chances today and get something, hopefully, in the next 45.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do think we should be going as much as we can to get the win on this one. It's like a draw's not a bad result, but when you consider the situation of the two teams, we really should be pushing on for this one. For me, I definitely got to shout out Lewis Cook. I think he's been exemplary in the middle of the park. Not that we didn't expect him to come to not, because he has had some really good games since he got that red card, before he got that red card. But if we don't have Tyler Adams, Lewis Cook is He's filled in on the right side, on the left side. He's tracked Longstaff. He won a header against Longstaff not long before the end of the first half. Christie's done a decent job in midfield. There's no doubt. And I think that if Semenyo takes anywhere near a decent touch from that Christie ball that lobbed in behind when Newcastle defense was a little bit out of sorts and Lewis Hall was still at left back, right back. Yeah, that was what a good chance that would have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of positives, I think, and I do like that. Cliver is playing so close to Solanke. One of the issues that I have a lot is that if we play long balls and it's up to Solanke, the wingers are always wide. So if the ball falls, it's only ever going to go to an opposition. What we're finding a lot at the moment is if the ball goes long to Solanke, Cliver is around to pick up the loose ball frequently, which I've been really pleased with. And as much as he's not been as involved as I'm sure he would like to, he's had a few decent moments. Obviously put in a really nice shot to force a decent save from Pope. And I think him and Tavernier have swapped positions nicely at times. Tavernier's just decided, I'm going to stand in the middle of the pitch now, and Clivert's just gone, sure, no problem, I'll go left, and they've just swapped effortlessly.
Can you see Rothwell coming on maybe? I'm not necessarily who for right now, but I'm just thinking extra freshness in midfield and someone who can drive with the ball.
If Clivert's not having much of an impact, I could see him taking off Christie put into the 10 slot and Rothwell being played as the 8 alongside Cook. I'm trying to think what other options we've got. I think
Sinisterra will come on ahead of Dango or Brooks.
Yeah,
I
would imagine so.
Yeah,
but I would like to see. I think this would be a good game for Brooks to come on for Cliver in the 10.
I'd like to see him essentially. I think that's his best position.
Yeah, I agree. There are definitely options, at least, which is good. We've certainly got way more options than Newcastle do, that's for certain. But yeah, there's definitely more than just a point in this game if we can actually start taking those chances.
But losing it would be disastrous. I think really disastrous.
Absolutely, losing it would be absolutely massive. So we can't be doing that. But it's been positive so far. Definitely,
for sure.
I think so.
For sure.
Okay. Right, it should only be a few more minutes before the second half kicks off, so I'll leave you to go and watch that on your sofa, and come back on at the end, and we'll chat and review the game. So I'll see you then, Aaron.
See you then. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Right. So the players aren't back out yet, but it shouldn't be too much longer before they are. As Aaron and I have just spoken, it's looking good, but it's sort of like, just need that next step. Just have to get the goal now. It's just not been. It's not quite. We've not done enough as of yet. As mentioned by Aaron, he was surprised that Tino Livramento didn't come on for Almiron. He is coming on at half-time. Who that's for, yet to find out. But he was stood on the sideline waiting to come on. Now, he might come on for Lewis Hall. And you'll see Trippier at left back, Livramento at right back. Maybe. Unless there's an injury, the only player I can see him coming on for is Lewis Hall. Who, according to SofaScore, has been one of Newcastle's better players. For me, no. But for me, that's not really the case. But we'll see. Waiting to still see what happens. I doubt Bournemouth are making a change. I certainly can't see anything on that side of things. No, Solanke's still on the pitch. I think it'll be Lewis. I think it's Lewis Hall that's gone off. I'm waiting for the pop-up to come on for the details to come on to show who's changed. Trippier's still at right back. Richie's still on. Yeah, it's Lewis Hall. I feel sorry for Lewis Hall. He started 4 games for Newcastle. He's been subbed off at half-time in 3 of them. 3! Eddie Howe's not got a lot of faith in this kid yet. I mean, he's flipping 19. We've been playing a 19-year-old at left back most of the season as well, in Milos Kerkez, who's obviously been on the bench more recently. But yeah, interesting one. Livramento is playing at left back. I do think that it's a sensible decision from Eddie Howe because Hall has struggled with Semenyo. So you do feel as though this is a direct decision, a real decision to say, like, Semenyo's had a little bit too much joy on that side. I need someone more physically capable of dealing with him, which Lewis Hall is not. So so he's taking him off. Stephen, hello. Still calling it 2-1. Come on, you Eds. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Keep it good work. Thanks a lot for your comment, Steve. And I will endeavour to keep up the good work. Fingers crossed that Bournemouth do as well, because it has been a good. It's been a good 45 minutes so far. Ooh, that's ends up being a high foot, I guess. Shah was ducking down, but there was almost some contact between head and boot between Shah and Solanke, but foul given to Newcastle. Oh, let me get the banner back. Let me get the banner up. It is second half, 0-0. We are 46.5 minutes in now. So just 90 seconds so far of the second half. Bournemouth continuing with a strong press. Cliver. Oh, poor ball back. Solanke's on the ball. He's passed. Oh, he's passed Pope, but he's put it out of the. Trippier plays the ball back to Pope. Pope can't get there. Solanke does. He puts it past Pope, but ends up taking his second touch is far too strong, and he hits it straight out of play. Oh, that was such a good chance. That's an uncharacteristic mistake from Trippier there, no doubt. Lovely work there from Christie, managing to kick the ball up a mile into the air and take it down himself. Not the greatest ball forward, though. And we have Pope on the ball. Ooh, that was awkward at the back there for a second. Kelly with a back pass to Neto was not very strong, and he almost got caught out, but Neto does well and passed it back to Kelly. Refilled my water. Kelly with the long throw up the pitch, which is headed back towards us by Newcastle. Lovely work from Cook, who gets it to Tav, who then Solanke tries to get it through to to Cliver. Handball called, but not given. Another good tackle from Cook. And I think that's a Bournemouth throw. Yeah. Newcastle are backing off. That must be a Bournemouth throw. More great work from Lewis Cook. He's been really good. I've been so pleased with him. He had a shaky-ish start to the season in terms of the first sort of half a dozen games, but for the 3 or 4 before he got that red, he'd been bringing himself back to his best form, and he's been out for 3 games, but he's come back in and it's been seamless with good passing and some great tackling and interceptions. Kelly with a throw on the left-hand side. Gets a 1-2 from Tavernier. The 1-0 is in the air, says Nilo. Yep. If it's not love in the air, then I will take a 1-0. Long ball from... Ooh, that was a mix-up at the back there from Newcastle. Solanke still on the ball. He loses it in the end, but it does fall to Aarons, who gets it to Zabani. Kelly a little bit more withdrawn this so far this half. He's playing very much more as the left centre back rather than a left back. Cliver on the ball. Oh, tries to get it through to Solanke, but it's well intercepted. Then Tavernier does really well, who plays it through to Aarons. Cross in first time. Smacked out by Fabian Schär for a throw-in. Oh dear, Tavernier plays it to Christie as a bit of a weak ball and he's intercepted by Willock, but then Christie gets back and as does Cook. Ball is now with Tavernier on the edge of the box. He keeps going, looking for options. He cuts it back. Oh no! It's just to Semenyo. It gets blocked. Oh, Cliver had an easy ball to run onto with no one near him and he's not moving. Now it's a counter-attack from Newcastle. Gordon on the edge of the box, cuts inside, looking for a chance to shoot. He doesn't have it. He gets held off by Zabani. He plays it through to Ritchie on the right-hand side, who has the ball. It's Ritchie and tries to play it through to Joelinton, but it gets intercepted by Kelly, still with Trippier. Now with Joelinton. Pressure on Longstaff from Senesi, and that's looked like a foul to me, but no foul given. Long clearance. And Newcastle still just about have the ball. Bit of a ricochet, a bit of a pinball in there, but Schär bombs forward with the ball. Now Joelinton, 40 yards out. Ritchie on the right-hand side. Miley. Livramento. Willock on the left-hand side. Livramento overlapping, but Willock comes inside, looking for a ball, can't find it. Plays to Gordon, back to Willock. Not a lot of pressure from Bournemouth, just sort of containing. Gordon still on the ball, looking for a ball in field. Gets it to Joelinton, to Livramento. A lot of short passing, but not any penetration so far from Newcastle. We force them back to the halfway line. The Sells to Trippier. To Ritchie, who looks for a ball in behind to Longstaff. Cook is following him well. To Joelinton, under pressure from Cliver and Tavernier. Just doing a containing job here at the moment when Newcastle on the ball. The one time they got in behind, we were following them well, which was good. Lovely work from Senesi, tackles Joelinton and then gets fouled. Great work from Senesi. He's had one or two iffy moments, Senesi, maybe two, I'd say. He dives in for a tackle on Gordon in the first half that he completely whiffs. But I think that's basically it. I think that's basically the only real mistake that he's made this half and this game, and he has done some really good pressurizing and intercepting and pushing the ball up the pitch. So yeah, been very pleased with Senesi this game, who I rate. I just think he needs to cut some of his mistakes and rashness out of his game. Now we're just passing the ball at the back quite a lot. Long ball up the field by Zabani to Semenyo, who just about keeps the ball in play, tries to go past Tino Livramento, fails. Christie takes over and gets a throw-in off Livramento. Aarons with the throw back to Zabani. Just a little bit of passing around the back at the moment. Kelly looking for balls forward, but they're not really on. Senesi tries a long ball. Almost gets over the top of the Trippier, but it does fall to Tavernier. All the way back to Zabani and Senesi. Senesi tries a lovely ball inside, finds Semenyo, who's looking for options, could have gone forward, but didn't really have quite the opportunity. But kept hold of the ball well. Kelly to Cliver, who's on the left-hand side looking for a cross, doesn't play it. Kelly still on the ball, goes backwards to Senesi. We are being patient. I think we're trying to just tire Newcastle out as much as we can with our play on the ball, which is good to see. Christie comes inside. I cannot tell you what Christie was trying to do there, but it flew over any Bournemouth player straight to Trippier. Newcastle are back on the ball, but some good pressure from Bournemouth, but then a nice ball in behind by Newcastle. Christie does well and wins the ball back from Longstaff. Some really good work from midfield. I was very worried about Christie Cook midfield. I said it at halftime. I said it before the game, but the two of them are working really well. Christie has been less impactful, but he's still worked really hard, as you'd expect. Ryan Christie on the left-hand side again. Back to Kelly. And that's Clivert, sorry, on the left-hand side. Back to Senesi. Christie still on the left, but goes back to Senesi. A lot of possession, a lot of control, a lot of territory. Not a lot of penetration at the moment, and there hasn't been most of this half so far. Kelly on the ball, tries a long ball out wide right, gets it to Aarons, who tries a first-time pass to Semenyo, but Semenyo's not on the same wavelength. And it goes back to Newcastle. Lovely ball in behind to Gordon. Great work from Cook. Pressurising him fantastically well. Got him in the corner now, pushing him backwards. Don't foul him! And he's got a yellow card? I don't know where this yellow card is coming from. There have been far worse tackles that should have had yellow cards earlier in the game. Now, if you're going to go by a totting up process, that's fair enough. But Lewis Cook hasn't committed any fouls. Oh, he's kicked the ball away. Oh, that's why. Okay, that's just moronic from Lewis Cook. Absolutely moronic from Lewis Cook. But weirdly, that's his first yellow card of the season. He got his first red before he got his first yellow. Oh, that's so stupid. It wasn't a yellow card tackle, but he kicked the ball away, and that's what's given him the yellow card. That was so stupid. Considering how bad we are from set pieces, at defending set pieces, you don't want to be giving them an opportunity to put a ball in the box. Trippier over the ball. Level with the edge of the penalty area from almost on the left-hand touchline. Goes into the box. Good ball. And, it ends up being some decent goalkeeping from Neto with a little bit of luck. Not a good ball in from Trippier. But Aarons or Cook. Yeah, so Cook ends up sort of... Oh, God, that's awkward. It's not a good ball in. There's no Newcastle player anywhere near it. Lewis Cook goes to header it, but realizes he can't get it because he's going to flick it on into making an own goal. So he ducks out of the way of it. Ball goes over the top of him, and Neto, all he can do is block it because he doesn't know what's going to happen with the ball. Ends up falling in front of him. Semenyo tries to clear it. I think it's Semenyo. Someone tries to clear it. It whacks against Willock, which comes back and hits Neto and then bounces away. Could have been an awful goal to concede that. But thankfully, it's just about worked out. Sorry, Monsieur mentions here, Stephen. Got to take our chances. Yeah, absolutely. But it does, certainly feels like a decent atmosphere from the rather quiet noise I've got coming through my earphone, my headphones. Kelly putting some good pressure on Richie there, but Newcastle would do well to keep hold of the ball. Lovely turn by Senesi, who gets it through to Christie, who looks for Semenyo, but he puts it behind him. Oh, ball's falls to Solanke. He's got you. He shoots. He scores. Get in there. Come on. Oh. Oh, dear. Get in there. Dominic Solanke with a goal. There's no VAR on that one. Absolutely not. But Bournemouth finally get the goal they deserve. Some lovely work to initially win the ball by, I'm not sure who, possibly Cook. Senesi turns well, gets to Christie. Poor ball from Christie Semenyo. Semenyo loses the ball instantly. But it's very West Ham-esque, this goal. It gets pushed by Willock into the path of Solanke, who takes one touch and shoots and scores. On the balance of play, Bournemouth absolutely deserve this goal. Solanke does some really good work. That's very very West Ham, very against West Ham. That goal. It's Semenyo on the ball against West Ham. Semenyo shoots and it falls out. Solanke does a boxing celebration. I think that's for Chris Billam-Smith. But some great work there by the whole team. The initial winning of the ball, lovely turn by Senesi. Okay, the weakest part of that was Christie's pass to Semenyo, but Semenyo then doesn't do great with it. But Solanke does what he needs to. He's anticipating. He gets in the right positions and he takes the chance. Lovely work here from Christie. Bournemouth are still on the attack. They don't want just one. And that's how we need to be playing this. But so there we go, Stephen. We're on with the 1-0. Nilo, it is not the last goal either. Well, I mean, heck, I wouldn't mind that being, well, as long as we score the second, I don't mind if that isn't the last goal. But you mentioned that 1-0 was in the air. We'll see what happens. We've got half an hour of the game to go. We are not long into the game, not long into the second half. 62 minutes on the clock. But Newcastle will obviously continue to try and attack. Kelly doing some really good work. I hedged my bets in my fantasy team this week somewhat. I have Gordon, Trippier, and Solanke in my fantasy team this week. That's got to be a handball by Aarons. Didn't get pulled up. So Solanke at least has scored for me. And he's doing more great work. Takes on 2 people. Takes on 3. He almost goes past Livramento, who does really good work to win the ball back there. But Solanke is he's been so good this year. Oh, Christie almost. And now Livramento suddenly in Bournemouth's half. He's absolutely pounced on the counter. Gordon on the ball. Nutmegs Senesi, takes the shot straight at the keeper. Ooh, one of Senesi's second mistake of the match. He's far too square on here. Is it Senesi? No, it's not Senesi. My bad. It is Zabani. That was awful from Zabani. My bad, because they got swapped over. That was very poor from Zabani. Not the first time. And now Aarons is on the ground. Thankfully, we do have a ready-made right-back replacement, but Aarons is now down. Yeah, another mistake from Zabani. Very lucky that Gordon doesn't put this away. Thankfully, it's straight down the keeper's throat. Sorry, Nilo. Wolves made it 2 in extra time. So, yeah, absolutely true. Although they were at home. And they were coming from behind against a team with a shed load of injuries in Tottenham. Whereas Newcastle have not gone ahead. And we are not trying to come from behind. Having said that, this needs to be the first game where we score first and don't lose. I'm sure most Bournemouth fans are aware of this stat. Every game Bournemouth have scored first in this season, we have gone on to lose. We haven't just failed to win in all of those games. We have lost every game we have scored first in this season. So fingers crossed that changes. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed, Stephen. Oh, yeah, they were. That was a silly point for me. I was talking about the fact that they were coming from behind. That was what I was meant to be mentioning, which I think I did. But yeah, absolutely right, Nilo, for calling me out on that one. I said, but we're at home. So are Wolves, you idiot, Sparky. Yeah, quite right. And that is Newcastle with another change. Lewis Miley is off and Ben Parkinson is on. Now, I believe Ben Parkinson is a forward. I believe Ben Parkinson is a forward. I don't know where amongst forwards. The left winger normally, but I think he's the striker today. Yeah, so it looks like Joe Linton has gone back. Whoa, Neto cutting it fine there. Yeah, so Joe Linton will have gone into central midfield. And Parkinson looks like he's gone up to play as the number 9 with Gordon going back to left wing. Ooh, that's a harsh foul called on Clivert, pressuring Longstaff well. But yeah, 66 minutes and 45 seconds gone. Bournemouth are making a sub? Yes, we are. So, making a double change. Aarons is off for Adam Smith. So that gives us, Aarons went down with an injury, so there's no need to risk it. We've got Adam Smith, can just put him on with no issue. And number 19. 19's Tavernier? No, Clivert. Clivert is off Sinistera. Bit harsh, I think, on Clivert coming off. And also, how are we setting up now? My guess would be that Sinistera will play on the left, Tavernier will go to the right, and Semenyo will play behind Solanke now. Anyway, long ball from Trippier after the foul, flicked on by Shah, and Adam Smith smashes it out for a throw-in. Hello, AFC Bournemouth Germany. Lovely of you to see us, to join us. Really impressed how we're playing. Yeah, absolutely. Going with a 2-1. Well, I'm happy with a 1-0. Get a clean sheet. Get our second clean sheet of the season. Chelsea 0-0 is our only other clean sheet, I believe. Our only clean sheet so far. Going to score a second, Newcastle will get their goal. Okay, fair enough. It looks like the current setup is Sinistera is playing behind Solanke, so he's playing as the number 10, which will keep Tavernier on the left and Semenyo on the right. Ooh, Sinistera almost wins the ball back there. Newcastle get a little bit lucky. Another good tackle from Tavernier, but the ball falls to Joe Linton. A little bit more fluidity up front in the midfield now from Newcastle. Joe Linton finding some space now that he's in midfield. Ball falls to Gordon, but Sinistera comes back and wins it. Some good work there from Semenyo, and now Smith's on the ball, tries to fight. Ooh. Ow. Longstaff's just gone down, and he is screaming in pain. I think Adam Smith tries to fire a ball low towards Semenyo and Solanke. Longstaff gets in the way, but I think his foot is just like, it's either planted awkwardly or the force hits something. Until I see the replay, I won't know exactly what, but he is not continuing. That looked painful. And they'd just taken off Miley, who was their, young central midfielder that was doing a decent job. 70 minutes on the clock just now, and Newcastle, in the same way to Tottenham, Newcastle have been storing up too much bad karma, and it's hit them all at once in the last few weeks. This injury list for Newcastle is ridiculous at this point, and it does not look like... Well, I mean, you never know. It might just be a really bad impact injury and he carries on, but I have a feeling his right ankle is going to need several weeks to recover. That's so innocuous as well. Really, really unlucky. He's back up on his feet. And he looks like he'll keep going. Just getting a replay here. Adam Smith. I still don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened. It's bounced off his ankle awkwardly. I really don't know. Oh, lovely ball from Zabani there over to Tavernier. I've never seen him do that. Sinistero on the ball. Hello, John. Nice of you to join us from stateside. Peter Drury calls stateside. I appreciate your I appreciate the compliment. Oh, Tavernier on the ball in the box, takes a shot. Good save. Mentioned the string in the last stream. The penalties my German team have been awarded. Had another look. It's 8 penalties in 13 games. Blimey, that's a lot. That's another good shot from Tavernier. Bournemouth waiting 500 plus days. Yeah, but I'd have to look it up because I don't think there's been any mention of it in any shows that I listen to or watch. I think Bournemouth are on like an English record or something of games without a penalty, or maybe Premier League record of games without a penalty for a side. Corner in from Lewis Cook. Decent one in. Gets flicked on. It's anyway. It's goal! Solanke again! A goal from a corner. Would you believe it? AFC Bournemouth have scored a goal from a corner. Would you bloody believe it? Absolutely, John. Definitely all you. Ball in. Flicked on. Oh, that was actually lovely. It was a great header from Sinistera. It gets saved by Pope. And then it just falls. It bounces awkwardly off Parkinson. And Solanke's just there with a flick, with the rainbow flick. There won't be anything on this one. Just like the previous goal, there definitely won't be anything on this one. AFC Bournemouth Germany. Yeah, lovely little flick. Are they seriously looking to see if this hit his hand? Who are they? This is the wrong. Okay, VAR are looking for a handball, and I don't think there's any. Oh, come on. Can we not? Oh, Sinistera hit it off the post, actually. There is no conclusive angle that this is off his hand. Thank you. It's a goal. I don't know why they're looking. No one's claiming for it. Oh, dear. I made a great call to put Solanke back in my fantasy team this week. 2 goals. Hell yeah, that's his first brace of the season, isn't it? It's got to be his first brace of the season. Well, who was it that was talking about us getting a second goal? Well called, AFC Bournemouth Germany getting a second goal already. Yeah, I know, Stephen. I know. What was this? My German team had a fight with the police yesterday. Remind me who your German team is? AFCB Germany? And 10 police officers injured. That's all good. Actually, let me change my banner. Oh, crud. Didn't mean to do that. accidentally deleted the banner, so I have to just rewrite it a second. Awkward. There we go. Lovely to see, isn't it? 2-0. Wonderful stuff. Hanover, that was it. Sinistera with some good work on the right-hand side of the pitch now, coming inside, looking for options, plays it back to Zabani. So 15 minutes left, and we're in a fantastic position. Now we just need to not be stupid with it. Newcastle in our half now, with Longstaff on the ball, playing it wide to Livramento, who is now playing it right back. I mean, it could be, Stephen. I think Aaron mentioned it at half-time. We win this, it's the international break, then we play Sheffield United. If we beat Sheffield United, that could put a little bit of a gap in for us. Shah's bombing forward. Lovely tackle by Christie. Falls to Longstaff. Wow. Great chance from Longstaff on his weak foot, and he fires it over. That was a great chance for Longstaff. Shah bombs forward really well here. Ball just falls to Longstaff on his weak foot. He fires it over. We were away, and apparently a home fan was still a banner from us, and then he was attacked, and the police intervened. Weird. Hello, Gina. Thank you very much for the compliment. Sean, it's just gone 77 minutes. So we've got 13 minutes to go, plus any stoppages, and there will be a decent few. But yeah, we just need to not be stupid anymore in this one. And more fantastic work from Lewis Cook. Some great pressure there from Parkinson makes that awkward for us, but in the end, we do get a goal kick. Here's something that is really important for those of you that have probably noticed it, but Newcastle do really well, particularly it's Longstaff in particular, but Willock likes to make these runs, of the midfielder that just bombs past his midfield position and quite often goes beyond beyond their opposition defense. So in this case, it would be beyond the Bournemouth defense. You've got to be really careful of those. Lewis Cook has been exceptional tonight at following Longstaff whenever he makes those runs and following Willock the occasional time that Willock has made those runs. Generally, it's Longstaff that you need to watch out for, but Willock will do it occasionally as well. And then Lewis Cook here is in the right position to insert the ball, picks it up and plays it simple. Lewis Cook's been fantastic tonight. He's been so good to come back in. It's really frustrating to lose Alex Scott, but having Lewis Cook back, we have massively missed him as well. Nice little bit of work at the back there. Yeah, it certainly seems to be. Player Archway was last week in a 50,000 capacity stadium, and 7,000 seats had to stay empty for security reasons. Climbing out the damn relegation, absolutely no, Nilo. It's climbing out that relegation zone. Solanke on the left-hand side of the pitch. Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, Will, absolutely, definitely stepped up today. And considering he's been out for 3 games, he's not looked like he's missed a beat. He has not looked like he's missed a beat at all, Lewis Cook. Ball forward from Senesi trying to find Solanke is intercepted, but Christie ends up with it to Tavernier to Sinistera, who's coming inside, dribbles past one, shoots, and oh, I thought that was a goal then. This is what I want to see from Sinistera. You're seeing Clivert, maybe not to the same extent, but having a decent impact by playing centrally. Sinistera here is being really involved since coming on. I've quite liked the positions he's been taking up. Is this our last substitution? Either way, Semenyo is off for Ouattara now. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's I don't know whether you were watching AFCB Germany, but that stat came up on my screen as well. Bournemouth have conceded 2 more goals from set pieces than any other side in the division. The next most is 6, and we've conceded 8. But I mean, I'd have to look again to see who that 6 is. So Ouattara's come on. He's come on the left-hand side. Tavernier's been pushed to the right-hand side. Poor ball from Shah goes to Tavernier, who's looking for chances forward, plays it through to Solanke, who's pushed wide right, tries to cross it, gets it to Sinistera, shoots. Oh, it's blocked well. Wonderful first touch from Sinistera. True, absolutely. I think Semenyo has done really well. It was something that I mentioned at the start of the game, before the game started, that with Lewis Hall at left back, you wanted someone to really be on him. And Semenyo was so winning that battle that Lewis Hall got taken off at half time. Cross in, doesn't beat the first man. Christie pushes it to Tavernier, who's in a very shoot against Fulham position. Lovely ball in, flicked away again by Ritchie. Lovely winning the header of Christie. Sinistera still on the ball, tries to play it to somebody, but no one's on the right-hand side, and that will go out. Trippier will let that go. Stephen, 7 shots on target so far. That's got to be one of our best attacking numbers of the season in terms of shots on target. I'll have to look through. That's got to be one of our best. Will, I've been most impressed with our press today. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Will. Correct. I mentioned it. I keep blowing smoke up my own arse. This was something I mentioned. It was something I mentioned on BBC Radio Newcastle when I spoke to them last night. Newcastle don't have the fitness at the moment. They don't. Because of the injuries, they can't rotate. All the players are knackered. They won't press. We can take advantage of that. And we've absolutely done that. We have not let them rest this entire game. We haven't let them rest. It's been so good to see. Newcastle are still trying to push for something. There was a cross came in and dealt with nicely. Now you just want to keep a clean sheet. Shah over his left-hand side to Trippier. Trippier against Tavernier looking for options. Share is completely open near the edge of the box. Falls to Willock, who's pressed well. Is being pushed wide. It gets through 2 players. Cuts inside. Lovely slide tackle from Christie to get a corner. I mean, that's true, Nilo, but you've got to beat what's in front of you, and Bournemouth haven't done enough. Bournemouth barely got over the line against Burnley. This has been a very encouraging display. We shouldn't put us down just because it was Newcastle when they've got injuries. Corner from Newcastle, punched away by Neto. Christie should just kick that clear, but he's not doing it. He's looking for a player to pass to. Under pressure from Gordon, turns well. Hits it straight to Trippier. Come on, Christie. You can't be losing the ball there, man. But thankfully, we win it back. Solanke does well, gets it to Sinistera, and we kind of have a counter on. Kelly playing it forward to Ouattara. And Ouattara gets there ahead of Lascelles, and that's going to be a yellow card, surely. A referee hasn't taken the card out of his pocket yet. Ouattara's down. Yeah, that's a yellow card. 8 minutes worse. I mean, 6 minutes now. 8 minutes. 8 minutes plus minutes. 8 min plus minutes is more than enough time for Newcastle to score 2. Yeah, but they just haven't looked like scoring so far this match. So we've just got to not be stupid, maintain our standards, and not give them the opportunity to get back into the game. Kevler, do you think we've turned a corner? I can't say. One game doesn't turn a corner for me. Our next match after the international break is away at Sheffield United. We win that, I'd say we've turned a corner. But you know, it's one game, maybe even 2, doesn't necessarily. Well, it certainly doesn't make a season. Did you know that if we score a direct own goal from your own corner kick, the other team automatically gets awarded a corner? Yes, that was a bit of trivia that came up when I was looking through. I was chatting to someone a good several months to a year ago. Knowing Newcastle was good. Yeah, I agree. Free kick. Lewis Cook puts the ball in the box and it goes straight off the only man in the wall and goes out for a corner. Not the best delivery from Lewis Cook. .85.5 minutes gone. 4.5 minutes to go with any added on minutes. Corner comes in, is headed away by Cher. Appeal for handball from Gordon. Lovely tackle by Christian Willock. And Senesi has talked his way into the book like an idiot. Yeah. They're claiming a handball off Anthony Gordon, and I don't think it is. I mean, VAR is looking at it. I don't think they're looking at the right angle, but yeah, carry on. Senesi shouldn't have. Senesi stupidly talked himself into the book there. He shouldn't have done that. 3.5 minutes to go, plus stoppages. As Nilo mentioned, there is enough time for Newcastle to score at least a goal, but they would need to show something they haven't shown this half, and that is some genuine attacking intent. Admittedly, Longstaff did have one really good chance, their best of the match. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, this was mentioned. I think Neela mentioned this as well, that Wolves did do that, but I didn't watch the game. But Steve Hensman did show me the stats, and Wolves looked like they absolutely deserved that victory based on most of the attacking metrics. Ball in the box with Gordon, who gets past Tavernier and Smith. Comes inside, gets it to Willock, who's on the edge of the box, pressured by Cook. Ouattara pressing Livramento, back to Willock. Longstaff tries a flick, fails it. Christie now starting the counter-attack. It is a 5-on-4. Still Christie. Plays it to Solanke. Gets in the box. Opportunity to shoot. He shoots, and it's in the side netting. I think that would have been Solanke's first hat-trick for us. Has Solanke scored a hat-trick for us yet? He definitely hasn't in the Prem. But has he done that in the Championship yet? And did he do it in the Championship? I'm struggling to remember. I don't think he did. Is Travers back at Stoke now? No, he's on the bench. And he can't go back to Stoke until 1st of Jan when the window opens. But I think, as I'm sure you have seen, AFCB Germany, Travers cannot go to anyone but Stoke, I think, according to, I think it's FIFA rules. You can't play for more than 2 clubs. But then Travers hasn't featured for us yet this season, so I don't know why that rule would count. But I think it's something that he can only go back to Stoke. Great work from Ouattara here on the left-hand side to get past. Richie plays it through to Sinistero. Sinistero, loads of room, shoots! Oh, it's a good save. I don't know how you haven't scored 3 or more in this game. I really don't. For the Wolves win. Yeah, I imagine he was. I imagine you haven't. Doesn't show his emotions very often, O'Neill. There really is opportunities to score more here. There's another counter-attack now. Ouattara's through. He wants to shoot. He takes it onto his right foot, shoots. Straight at the keeper. Oh, he should have had 3 or 4 in this game. Newcastle can't get past the halfway line. We keep countering on them and having more opportunities to score. Oh, lovely nutmeg on Christie by Willock there. Christie looks like he's a bit tapped out. Tavernier's still working really hard. Lovely whack clearance from Adam Smith. Love to see that. And we have hit 90 minutes, so we're waiting to see what the added time is. 7 minutes of added time. Well, there you go. Wolves scored in the 91st and 97th. Gordon plays it into Joelinton, who's just inside the Bournemouth box. He plays it back to Gordon, who puts the ball in, cleared nicely by Senesi. Falls to Richie. Richie shoots. It's straight at the keeper. That was a good chance. I'm sure Neto will be absolutely delighted with a clean sheet as well, to come back from injury and feature in a clean sheet. Oh, that was Lewis Cook actually with the header away. Sorry, not Senesi. Senesi then ends up challenging Richie. They do actually close them down quite well, so there wasn't many opportunities to get the ball past Neto. Well, you've got to remember the injuries and the goals that were scored. Neto, don't get yourself a yellow card. Good. He whacks that. He slips as he whacks it, which means it goes straight out of play for a Newcastle throw. Yeah, I mean, you've got, like I said, 17 accept maybe, but there's been 2 goals and there's been a couple of instances of injuries. Longstaff was down for 2 or 3 minutes on his own. So, yeah, they do add on a lot of time. Dominic Solanke getting his flowers, quite rightly, because he is undoubtedly the man of the match with 2 goals. Most goals, most shots, most touches in opposition box, most possession won in final third. And we are pushing again for another counter-attack. Sinistera on the ball. Looks for Christie. Wide. Christie plays to Tavernier. Tavernier shots. And it's wide again. This is just... I mean, I don't know how this isn't 4-0. We've had so many opportunities. More great work from Tavernier. He's been blown up for a foul, but... Tavernier just getting in the way of it. Don't think AFCB have to have a poll for that. Yeah, he'll win it easily. I have to give massive props to Lewis Cook, though. I think Lewis Cook has been so good. Tavernier has been great. But Solanke continues to be fantastic. Uh, 92.5 minutes gone. Newcastle passing around the back a bit. I think for them, I'd be more looking that you don't concede anymore. Just leave it to 2-0 and end it there. I don't think. Oh, I'm actually pushing forward now. Livramento tries to get it through to Parkinson, who tries to flick it back to Livramento, but Ouattara is there in the middle of the park, picking the ball up well. And that Bournemouth are on another counter-attack. It's a 4-on-4, and Ouattara tries to pass it to Sinistera, but completely messes it up. And it's with Lascelles, who pushes forward, looking for who to pass forward to. Willock on the ball, up against Kelly, goes backwards. Sinistera bumps into Joelinton, who's unaffected. Longstaff on the ball, passes wide to Shah, to Gordon, who wants to put the ball in the box, doesn't find it, but does play it to Longstaff, who puts the ball in and is cleared well by Christie, who's in the middle of the back 7. Shah pushing forward. Here comes the shot from Shah, undoubtedly, which deflects off his own player. I think that deflects off his own player, because that's gone for a goal kick. Will, was Sonny Troyer an obligation to buy? Yes, it was. I like him, but I don't sense our manager fancies him. He absolutely does not. And I'll tell you why. He doesn't press enough. That is it. Because Traore's got the skill. He's got the ability to have an impact in the final third. I have zero doubts with that. He doesn't work hard enough off the ball. That's it. That has to be the reason. And I've barely seen Traore this season because he's only played in cup games. And I did see him against Liverpool when he came on, and him and Billing got in the way of each other when we almost for one of our few chances. But it like that has to be it, because in terms of a player that's going to then create or score, Traore's got that in his locker. There is no doubt. He just doesn't work hard enough for Iraola. If you don't press, you're not going to play in this team. And I wouldn't be surprised if we even sell him in January. We don't need him, and the manager doesn't want him. And it's as simple as that. 95 minutes on the clock, and Tavernier comes off to waste a bit of time, with Joe Rothwell getting 2 minutes at the end here, which will see probably Ouattara go to right mid, Sinistera go to left mid, and us go to a more traditional 4-3-3. But yeah, Tavernier's had a really good game as well. Let's take that comment off the screen. Senesi with a long ball up. Oh no, Christie's gone to right mid. My bad. Christie's gone to right mid. Lovely touch from Senesi there. Oh, and we win the ball back in our opposition third. Again, Lewis Cook on the ball to Christie. Christie able to take as long as he likes to pass it to Cook, who plays it back to Senesi. To Zabarnyi. Plays it forward to Christie in acres of space, who's looking to just see out the minutes now. Joe Rothwell on the ball. Ole is going around from the fans. And yeah, I think this is the match well and truly petering out at this point. And one final chance. Christie's pushing into the box, looking for who's there. Play it back to Sinistera, who shoots. And how on earth does Pope save that? Sinistera has to score this. And yet, somehow, after a deflection, it deflects off the cells and Pope flicks his arm up and manages to make a save. That's ridiculous. I mean, Sinistera should score there. He just needs to tuck that in a corner, and it's no issues at all. That should have been 3. Really should have been 3. And now that the corner is there, Bournemouth are just going to keep it in the corner and wait for the ref to blow his whistle. And there it is. That is Bournemouth's second win of the season. The first time this season that they have gone more than a goal up in any league fixture. And the first time that Bournemouth have scored the first goal in the match and then gone on to win it. Well done, Bournemouth. Well done, Iraola. Well done, Solanke. Well done, Lewis Cook. Well done, every single Bournemouth player today. A fantastic result and fully deserved, taking advantage of a Newcastle side that was always going to struggle in this match. But my word, did we make it count today. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Right. I'm going to take a quick break, refill my water, and then I'll be back on with Aaron to just go through a quick review, and then we can all enjoy the rest of our weekend. So I will be back on shortly. And we are back. We're just going to do a quick review with Aaron. He can't stay on for long, unfortunately. But Aaron, your thoughts, your opinions on that. Bournemouth's second win of the season. The first time this season we've gone more than a goal up in a league game. The first time we have scored the first goal and actually gone on to win the league game. What was that like? What was that like for you?
Oh, I thought we were superb. You know, like even at 2-0, you worry because if they get one back, they can get another. But it was great to see. We kept having break after break. How he didn't score another one, I got no idea. Sinistera was so bright when he came on. Brilliant turn, brilliant block from Lascelles. And then obviously Tavernier had a chance, which he missed, skewed wide. Dom hit the side netting. Sinistera should have scored, and Pope made a brilliant save. We were just flooding forward, and it was great to see that we just, we weren't just sitting back and trying to hold on, which we probably would have done anyway. But yeah, look, I know they were weakened. I know Almiron went off, but they still have quality players on the pitch. And in our position, we still got to get the job done. I don't care what anyone says. And we were superb. I thought all over the pitch. I mean, Dom, Sky Sports showed that the stats. He was man of the match because he was first in every single stat for whatever it was. But I thought Cook and Christie were immense. I have to say, actually, I think this proves that Christie, for me, is just not a number 10. I think he did so well in that midfield because if you think what danger Tarver provided, and then Sinistera when he came on, and Tavernier, Danga, whoever was playing in that position, they got the pace and to get next to Dom. And Christie, just by moving back, his work rate was brilliant. And played alongside Lewis Cook brilliantly. And it allowed whoever was that number 10 to actually be a proper number 10 with pace. And, obviously they didn't score, but finishing ability and this just being something different. Interestingly enough, it's funny because a lot of comments about, did we miss Billing? Obviously not on today's showing. And Billing is, we know he's stats wise, he's outstanding, but the work rate and everything from some of those players out there today, he'll struggle to get back in when he's available again. I thought, it said Cook and Christie were outstanding, and I thought whoever Kluivert, Sinistera all played well, and defensively we were great. Couldn't fault anyone today. I really couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't. Got no cons with anyone. A couple of moments that were iffy from Senesi and Zabani, one or two. But for the most part, worked really well. I thought Senesi was actually really good this game. I think he you mentioned at halftime that he was handling Joe Linton well, but I think a lot of his interceptions and driving us forward were brilliant. Zabani I didn't notice as much, but him, Aarons, Kelly all worked well. Neto didn't have a lot to do, but he did it well. Took a few risks on the ball, but he didn't cost us anything in the end, which is good. But there's
an argument actually our back four now. I mean, I know there's a lot of discussion about Kelly at left back, etc., and Mepham, but obviously we've got options. But for me, Aarons, Zabani, Senesi, Kelly, at the moment should be the first choice back four. I think. I just don't think that Zabani and Senesi look great together, and Kelly, as I said, just is so good defensively on that left hand side.
Yeah, he definitely has been. I think it all worked fantastically. But that is our last game before the final international break of the year. We come back and then go away to Sheffield United, which will be a massive game for us to really try and put the next marker down in our season and try and pull away from the bottom three. But for now, we are outside of the relegation zone again, which is brilliant news. I know you've got to pop off, so thank you very much for joining us for a quick review there, and thanks for being on.
Thanks for doing the dog work, should I say?
Oh, right.
Yeah, thanks for that, and I'll see you all soon.
Yep. See you on the next video. Cherries Red, Cherries in Focus, hopefully. Yeah. All right. I'll see you then.
Take care.
Cheers, Aaron.
Bye.
So yes, that is it. That is our 2-0 win. I've already said the great stuff enough about the stats that make this even better for us. Let's just have a look at some of the comments that I've missed. Sean getting the boys, absolutely. Stephen, great 3 points, well deserved. Thank you very much for joining us. Onwards and upwards. Sean, thanks for the live. Absolutely no problem. Nilo, really enjoyed this game despite the missed chances. Yep. I know. I don't know how we didn't win that 3 or 4-0 really, but yeah, some really good stuff. Well, many man of the match performances today. Absolutely. Hello, Flip. You're very welcome. As to you, Will. Thank you very much for joining us, John. AFCB Germany 2 home wins in a row. Yes, absolutely. Newcastle never really looked like scoring in the second half. No, not really. Probably should have scored 3, 4, or 5 If any other keeper was in goal. Yep. Well, I mean, that wasn't the worst miss of the lot in the second half. There were a lot of better chances than that one, but yeah, I would have hoped he put at least on target that miss at the end. Aerial ball seems to be working now. Let's not get too hasty, AFCB Germany. But your second point there, our 6-1 loss to Man City looked impressive in times. I totally agree. It's the weird thing that can happen in football. I would argue that 6-1 loss, despite being the worst scoreline we have suffered against Man City, was probably our best performance against Man City. Maybe not our truly best, but in the top 3 of performances against Man City. We restricted them to not a lot. They just finished at a ridiculous rate. They had less than 2 XG in that game, and they scored 6 goals. Ridiculous. Paul, Mel, fantastic result. Absolutely. Nilo, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for the compliment. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for engaging. It is people coming on and engaging in the comments that makes this worthwhile as a exercise doing these watch-alongs. Alan, hello. Attack, the best form of defense. A great win. Yeah, that was a great. It was who mentioned it? AFCB Germany. That was a great example of what Iraola ball could be against many a team in the Prem. That was the best example of the pressing philosophy that Iraola has working fantastically well against a weakened side, against the team that struggled, but it still worked really, really, really well. Let me just bring up some SofaScore stats. We'll just have a look at what some of the numbers are saying. Not that it matters that much. We're all pleased with a win. But let's just have a look at some of the stats. And I'll let us all get on with the rest of our evening. So here we go. Finish 2-0, 2-0. Come on. Up the cherries. XG 2.49. We underperformed in this game. 2.49 XG versus 0.5. Absolutely deserved to win by 2 goals. SofaScore's deciding to refresh. Frustrating there. Possession was pretty even. Total shots massively outdid them on shots. Corner kicks was pretty even. Gave away a few too many free kicks for me, but it was aggression. That was what I want to see. Won a lot of throw-ins. 3 big chances, one of which was missed. I'd like to know which one was the one we missed. 6 counterattacks. Look at that. That is wonderful. Admittedly, game state matters. This is right towards the end of the game. But all the counterattacks resulted in shots. That's so important. When you get the opportunity to pounce on the counter, you need to at least make the goalkeeper work. Admittedly, that's counterattack shots. That doesn't tell you whether they're on target. Tavernier's shot towards the end was a counterattack shot. That wasn't on target. But you've got to try and at least create opportunities. So the fact that we were countering and making something of those counters is very, very good. Obviously, you need to start scoring from them. But it was really nice to see. 15 shots from inside the box. I would like to know what our record is in the Prem of shots inside the box, because that's a hell of a lot of shots from inside the box. Passes, dribbles, possessions, more tackles, more interceptions. You'd love to see it. Some ratings. Let's see what SofaScore are giving us. Dom Solanke with an 8.9, understandably man of the match. But look at that solid defensive work rate as well from that back 7. Wonderful stuff. Tavernier getting a nice rating as well there. Not so much from Newcastle. Anything else to point out? Yes, let's have a quick look at the other scores that happened today and where we are in the table. And once we've done that, we'll call it a night. Not EFL, EPL. Let's show these up for everyone. Scores so far this weekend. Wolves winning 2-1, obviously. Oh, let's zoom in, make it so everyone actually see these. Wolves winning 2-1. Luton losing, which was great for us. Burnley losing 3-1 to Arsenal, which was great for us. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 3. doesn't matter too much for us. But Crystal Palace are a team that aren't really thriving at the moment, so we have opportunities to really get back to where sort of Crystal Palace roughly are, and obviously Bournemouth winning 2-0. 2-0 at home to Newcastle. Get in there. The table. So that gets us back out on 9 points. 3 points behind Fulham. 4 behind Forest. 5 behind Everton, West Ham, and 6 behind Palace. And the important thing is 3 points ahead of Luton. Inferior goal difference, which is frustrating, but it puts a gap between us, Burnley, Sheffield United, and at least some small level of gap between us and Luton. Vital. How does that affect Newcastle? They stay in 7th. They miss. I say in 7th. They were pushed down to 7th by Man United. They missed the opportunity to get themselves above Aston Villa into the European positions. So, I think not much more really to look into. On Cherries in Focus on Monday, we will review this game, and that's pretty much all we'll be doing, because there's no point in looking ahead to Sheffield United when that doesn't happen for another 2 weeks. Unfortunately, after that result, 2 home victories in a row, as pointed by AFCB Germany, we now have to wait for a while. We've got 2 weeks because there's an international break, which I have gotten more and more frustrated with over the years. But unfortunately, that's just the way that's the way the cookie crumbles. But it's a fantastic result, and it was a really good performance, probably our best performance of the season. And yeah, should be an enjoyable watch on Match of the Day, as AFCB Germany points out. Oh yeah, of course, that's basically what they'll talk about. No, they won't. They will mention Newcastle's injuries. They will absolutely mention it, but they will focus hopefully on Solanke. I'd like them to point out Lewis Cook as well, who I haven't shut up about today. I really haven't shut up about Lewis Cook's performance today. Paul, our team with the new players is really starting to gel. It's getting better. It's just a case of taking some time and getting better, and us pushing forward with this new style. Good news, because of the win, we can now get 50% Uber Eats discount instead of 30% after a loss. Hey, if we get those 3 cherries coming down in the on that screen at home, who really cares? Do not think Shearer's on Match of the Day tonight. Genus and X Swansea Williams, I'm sure. Yeah, according to Father. Okay, cool. I'm now going to spend a large chunk of Sunday trying to find every bit of media I can that had Bournemouth live in this game. So I'm going to be scrolling through BBC Radio 5 Live, see if I can find anything that TalkSport did, every single article that I can find online. And I love it. Yep. Fantastic. Right. Okay. There's no point in hanging on any longer. There's not much to review. We were great. We deserved the win. It's fantastic. Go enjoy your weekend. Just have a blooming great night out. Whatever you want to do. Fantastic evening. Thank you very much to everyone who joined me along. It was lovely for those of you that came in to interact with me. We started getting a bit busier in the second half. Hopefully, more of you can join me from the start of the match the next time we do one of these watch-alongs. I'd imagine I'll try and get one going for Sheffield United away in 2 weeks, but we'll tell you more about that on social media and on the Cherries Red Army, Cherries and Focus that we do as preview for the Sheffield United game. But stick around on the channel. Please give this video a like if you did enjoy it. Please do comment. Let us know what you thought about the result, about the team, about the players. Thank you to everyone that joined in the match. And do subscribe if you haven't already to stay in touch with more Bournemouth content from the team. And we'll have a few videos coming up for you through the international break as well. But for now, thank you very much to everyone who joined me. I have dragged out this ending long enough. It's about time we all go and enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Up the cherries!